live here at the Station of Decapitation Without Your Head. I'm Nasty Neal.
That would make me Terrible Troy.
And this is Annabelle Lecter.
And we're joined by Kier-La Janisse, producer of all the Hans BRs, Volume 2 and Volume 1. We're going to be talking about Volume 2 here from Severin Films and a lot of other cool things. It's good to have you here.
Thank you. Just so you know, my name's pronounced Kayla.
Kayla.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How did I say it?
I think you said Kaylee.
Kaylee. Oh, I'm very sorry. I listened to multiple interviews to make sure I got it right.
He's very bad with that. So don't take it personally. He's got a friend, Tara. He still doesn't know. So
right. So we got the box set here. It's amazing. Yeah. Tons of stuff. How long does it take to put something like this together?
Well, that was like 3 years. So that box set and the box set that I produced right before it, which was The Sensual World of Black Emmanuel, they were both 3-year projects. And all the Hans BRs Volume 1 was about two years going on 3, but it was being done kind of at the same time as I was finishing my movie, Woodlands Dark and Days Bewitched. So yeah, there's a lot of overlap in these projects, and also like other projects I do at Severin. Like sometimes I'll produce just like a standalone single disc, and so there's usually I'm working on a whole bunch of things at once. But from beginning to end, really, that box set was like 3 years.
Can you describe for the people out there who might not know what this project is all about? And I mean, it's incredible, but for people who don't know.
Yeah. So back in 2021, I made a documentary called Woodlands Dark and Days Bewitched, a history of folk horror. And it was like a 3.5 hour long movie with 50 different speakers and scholars from around the world talking about, their individual approaches or definition or takes on what folk horror is. And there was a little bit of division sometimes, even with those people. There was like a couple of branches of folk horror that really emerged as kind of the strongest streams of it, I guess. One, which is the sort of Anglo-centric version of folk horror, which is that it's a person, the stories that involve a person who comes from outside of a small community, and they enter this small, isolated community that's often in a rural environment. And these people are so isolated that they've developed they've either developed strange belief systems or they've clung to older belief systems that have kind of gone out of fashion everywhere else. And so there's this clash, this sort of culture clash that happens that often culminates in some sort of a violent confrontation. And so that's one type of folk horror. And then the other type of folk horror that people mentioned a lot in my film was horror that had a lot more to do with folkloric creatures, folklore, usually threats that were coming from outside of your community. And so in the context of these films, having the sort of old folkloric beliefs were things that would fortify you against something that could threaten you. Whereas in the other type of folk horror, those folkloric beliefs themselves were considered to be like the threat. So there were sort of two different viewpoints that I noticed emerging as kind of the dominant streams of folk horror. And so in the film itself, I did not I didn't define folk horror. I didn't try to define it. It was, it was kind of showing how fluid the definition of it was part of what was interesting about it to me. And so as I was making that film, there were, of course, like 200 different films and TV shows and everything that are talked about in that film. And so my boss at Severin Films, David Gregory, said, while I was in the middle of making the film, he was like, why don't we try to get some of these movies, if they haven't been released already on Blu-ray, why don't we try to get some of them and make like a box set? And so we made the first All the Hans BRs box set. And it was kind of a mix of stuff that was in the film and stuff that, some stuff that wasn't even in the film, And then my documentary was part of that box set, and it came with like a book of essays and stuff. And it was a pretty ambitious project, but there were a few movies that we were still trying to get that we just couldn't get in time for the box set for when it had to come out. Because when you're licensing films, you have them for X amount of years. And so some of the ones that we'd licensed very close to the beginning of the project, we're already now getting 3 years into that license and we haven't released the movie yet, you know? So at a certain point, we can't keep holding off the box set. We have to finish it and release it. And so there were a couple movies that we were still working on. Then we were just like, well, instead of giving up these negotiations, why don't we keep trying to get those movies? And then maybe we can make a smaller additional box set down the road, you know? And, you know, fast forward 3 years later, and the second box set, All the Haunts BRs Volume 2, is actually bigger than the first box set. So it wasn't just like an additional supplementary box set. It was actually like a totally bigger box set. So there's 24 films in the new All the Haunts BRs Volume 2. And they also go a bit further afield than the first box set. So there's films from Asia, there's films from the Middle East and stuff. And it also comes with like a 250-page hardcover book of original folk horror fiction that we commissioned especially for this box set. So it's a pretty comprehensive set, especially if you've got both of them. It's a pretty ambitious project overall.
When you said about, you know, two different definitions of what folk horror is, I thought it was interesting, some of the interviews and the commentary that some of the people themselves didn't even think what they made was even horror. Like, you know, they didn't consider their movies horror. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that happens a lot. I mean, because the thing too is, like, a lot of times when we use these definitions or categories for films, it's usually just because somebody has to sell the film to somebody else, whether that's officially selling it, like they're a sales agent and they're trying to sell it to a distributor, or you're trying to sell the movie to your friend to get your friend to be interested in it and watch it, you know? So it's usually somebody's trying to sell this film to somebody, and they come up with these categories of whatever they think is going to appeal most to that person. And so sometimes people will lean into the horror elements of something and be like, well, you like horror films, this has horror elements to it. But then if the person doesn't like horror, they'll kind of lean into other aspects of the film when they're talking about it. And so many of the filmmakers, when they made the films, thought they were just making like a drama or, you know, whatever. Just many of them didn't, you know, maybe a mystery, or, you know, a mysterious drama, like somebody like Carter Lord, who made the film The Enchanted, which is on the second box set. He had no idea that people considered his film a horror film, that it was folk horror. He didn't know what folk horror was, but he was perfectly happy with that. He was like, great. You know, he's like, if there's an audience that wants to watch my film and that's how they see my film, great, you know. But then you have other people who we had to try really hard to convince them to put their film in the box set, like Mike DeLeon, who made the film The Rights of May, which is one of the ones that we had been trying to get since the first box set. So, I mean, that film we tried to get for over 4 years.
Wow.
And he really was kind of against the idea of it being seen as a horror film or it being like, he just didn't like the categorization, and he wasn't sure how he felt about being kind of lumped in with these other films and stuff. But eventually he came around and realized that, you know, just because somebody looks at your film through this lens doesn't mean that's the only lens that anyone can ever look at it through. You know, there's still all these other audiences that watch your film from a completely different perspective. Like, this is just one of potentially many audiences for your film. And so then he came around, but there's other people who didn't, you know, like we tried to get Jan Svankmajer to give us Little Otik for the box set, and he absolutely refused to have his movie considered a horror movie. Which I think anybody who's seen that movie would find that funny, that he doesn't think it's a horror movie. But, you know, but that's just the way it is, you know, especially when you have older directors who, you know, in their mind, horror means a certain thing. You know, like I feel like audiences now, horror audiences are very savvy and they have a very broad definition of what constitutes horror. And they're curious about things. They're open to a lot of things. But I think people who come from outside of horror that are not fans of horror have a very closed idea of what horror is, you know? And so they have a lot of bad associations with it that are often not true. And so they're making their decisions based on that.
Yeah, it's not just the Academy Awards that look down on horror. It'll become, maybe this is folk thriller.
Yeah. Musical, perhaps, as
comedy musical.
Comedy musical.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting. Are there particular cultures that you were trying to represent more than others? Like I've seen a lot of Asian horror. It's amazing. And I've seen a lot of it. So have you been trying to represent places maybe we haven't seen things from?
Well, we actually tried to put more attention on Asian horror in the new box set, because there really wasn't any in the first box set. And the Middle East was an area that I remember I saw a comment from somebody on Twitter that was just like, "What? The Middle East doesn't exist? It's not represented in your documentary at all." And I was like, "No, you're right. I mean, there's actually like 80 different countries in the world whose films are not represented in my documentary. It's like it's definitely as big as it is. It's never going to be totally comprehensive, you know." But it did make me think, you know, there are some really interesting folk horror movies from the Middle East, and I should have considered those, you know. And so when it came time to making the box set, it was a way to kind of address some of the things we felt we had missed, either in the movie or in the previous box set, you know. And that's one of the great things about doing, you know, home video releases and projects like this, especially if they take on a life where you can make like a sequel to it or whatever, is that you can kind of fix things that you maybe didn't get totally right the first time around. So
yeah, and I think in a box set like this, each one can be its own release because they have so many specials and stuff. And nothing against any of the movies. Maybe people wouldn't buy some of those releases because they're not really a well-known movie. But in the box set, then, you know, it's going to be seen by a lot more people that way, because, you know, they might recognize Psychomania or something, like, oh, and then here's a movie I'm not familiar with.
Yeah. No, that's definitely the case. I mean, when we do, you know, sometimes we'll do a standalone release because we're just like, well, we feel like this movie will do better on its own than if it's in a box set, you know, like, because sometimes if it's a really well-known movie, it can hurt it that people feel like they have to buy 23 other movies just to get that movie, you know. But at the same time, there's all kinds of movies that people haven't heard of, people haven't seen, and they're not necessarily going to take a chance on a standalone release of that movie. But they, you know, but in the box set, it also creates a situation where the audience can be the most receptive they can possibly be to that movie, you know, because we have so much contextual stuff around it that kind of explains why it's there, you know, why it's been curated, why it's next to this other movie or whatever. And so I think like it really sets the movies up for success in a like just more thoroughly with the audience when you package them together like that.
The White Reindeer was it was so interesting because I think to myself, how much of this is a part of lore of that area? Like, what is the product of? Like, when we look at films that I've seen that are from that time, there's a timestamp on what that feels like, with the messages they're trying to put out. So curiosity about, well, what is it about this that it's created in this way? Is it about the product of the time, which surely it is, or what is it just about the lore there? So
yeah, I mean, like something like the White Reindeer is interesting because, you know, it's definitely tapping into Sami folklore, but it's tapping into Sami folklore from the perception of white people who made movies in Finland at that time, you know. So even though we can look at that film, and I think many people interpret the White Reindeer as something that's really ethnographically respectful and really like representing the Sami culture, because there are so many scenes of just like, you know, daily life in the village and stuff like this. But Sami people themselves are not fans of that movie, you know, because they do feel like I mean, the folklore itself, the story of sort of the vampiric reindeer and stuff like that does come from that folklore. But it's not a film made by Sami people. And so you inevitably have those problems of representation and problems of people just not totally understanding the culture. And because the movie was, you know, it's made in like 1952, I think. And so there are definitely movies in the box set that represent older cultural attitudes, you know, that are not totally current in terms of, you know, what, you know, how we would do things now. Like now we would have an Indigenous person directing that movie, you know. But I still think that, you know, there aren't a ton of horror films that came out of Finland, especially around
Right.
that time, you know. So I mean, it is actually an important cultural document either way, and it's a really beautiful movie. You know, we even gave the film to an experimental filmmaker and asked her to make a 4-minute film, kind of using imagery from The White Reindeer, just because we thought the visuals of the movie are so beautiful, you know. And so that short film is actually on the disc as an extra too.
It is interesting where you bring up where it could be culturally problematic, but it also opens up a possibility to have a conversation about it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I think that is a really important thing, is including these things so people can say, hey,
yeah,
it is just like you were saying, it's this beautiful piece and it exists. And at the same time, what can we learn from that outside of the film itself?
Yeah, exactly.
Like the documentary Susanna on the box set, you know, someone I was not familiar with at all. And that was really interesting. And another region that, you know, I don't know a lot of movies from Indonesia.
Yeah. Yeah. And that documentary, I'm so glad that he finished it in time for us to include it, because David Gregory, who's the owner of Severin, he made that documentary, and he made like the Al Adamson documentary and the Richard Stanley documentary, and the recent the Clones of Bruce, Enter the Clones of Bruce documentary. He's a really great documentarian, David, and he wanted to do. We got the film Sundal Bolong for the disc, and it stars this Indonesian superstar, Susanna, who anybody who ever read Pete Toombs not Kethel Tohill's book, but Pete Toombs' book, Mondo Macabro, which the name of the DVD label comes from. Susanna is talked about a lot in that book. And so we're releasing Sundal Bolong as part of this disc, and David asked if he could do an extra for it just about Susanna. And I was like, yeah, of course, go for it. But then, of course, in like typical Severin fashion, it becomes a feature-length documentary, which is pretty much how all of our documentaries begin. They all actually begin as like they're just supposed to be like a short featurette to go on another movie, and then they end up like just growing and growing. So it's kind of like a running joke at Severin. But yeah, so that's how it turned. It was originally supposed to be, you know, like a 30-minute piece or something, but then he ended up going to her hometown and meeting her whole family and like all kinds of stuff. And he made this incredible documentary. So it's a really cool thing to have on the disc.
Yeah,
it's a lot to have people become, well, we're just going to do the short thing, but are so fascinated and curious and caring that it just keeps going.
Yeah, it's way better than the reverse. Like if you started out like, we're going to make a 2-hour, you know, thing out of this, and like, wow, this is boring as hell. We're just cutting this down to 10
Make it
minutes.
a 5-minute feature.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
add it up.
Yeah.
So, I just want to ask if you could tell everyone about the Haunted Season that's on Shudder.
Yeah, so the Haunted Season, in a way, even grew out of this box set, which was, we had asked Sean Hogan, who's a British writer-director that I really like, if he would do a short film for the box set, because we didn't have another Woodlands Dark and Days Bewitched, and we didn't yet at that time know that David's film was going to be a feature. So we were like, what can we make that can be like a new film that can kind of be the equivalent of the documentary on the last box set, you know? And so we asked Sean if he would make a film, and I gave him a couple prompts, you know, of potential things it could be about or involve. And one of them was a corpse road. And he said, okay, I'll do that, because I've already been doing research about corpse roads, which are these pathways. They used to take the dead along certain roads because it was considered bad luck to, you know, it was considered like they cursed the ground as you're carrying the body. And so they didn't want them going on normal roads. So there were specific pathways, and a lot of times it was because the bodies had to be buried in consecrated ground, and not every small village had a consecrated cemetery. So they would sometimes have to walk like several days with the body to get to another village that had a consecrated cemetery. So his film takes place on a corpse road. And so he made this film, and before he was even finished the film, I said to David Gregory, what if we pitch Shudder on letting us do a movie like this every year? We just do one for Christmas, our own ghost story for Christmas series. Because Sam Zimmerman at Shudder and I used to work together years ago at Fangoria magazine. We used to be the web team. So
Nice.
we used to be like the editors of the website. And way back then, so this would have been like 2012, we really wanted to do a ghost story for Christmas for the Fangoria website and have it like premiere on Christmas Eve. And we wanted Sean Hogan to make that film. We were both fans of his, and we're like, let's get Sean Hogan because he's like the perfect person to do this. He's really great with period dialogue and stuff. And the publisher at Fangoria at that time was not interested, so we never got to do it. But then about 5 years later, I made a book called Yuletide Terror, Christmas Horror on Film and Television. And I asked, and it was like, there's hundreds of films in it. And I asked Sean if he would make a Christmas ghost story that I could put as a DVD in the back of that book. And so he made this film called We Always Find Ourselves in the Sea, which was like a Christmas ghost story. And then fast forward to, last year, I'm at Severin, Sam Zimmerman is at Shudder, and, we still love Sean Hogan's stuff, and we both felt like he's just such an underappreciated talent because he's a playwright, he writes books, he makes films, he can do a lot with no money, and so I pitched this idea to him. I was like, what if we do this ghost story for Christmas thing and we get Sean to, if we can just have this movie be the first one, and then we can sort of kick it off like that and have a different film every year with a different director, different writer. And Sam loved the idea, not just because he loves Sean's work, but because he loves the BBC ghost stories for Christmas from the 1970s, which he's managed to license for the first time for Shudder this year. Wow. He's actually been trying for years to get those for Shudder. And so he finally got them this year. And this is a series of films made by Lawrence Gordon Clark in the 70s for British television. And they would be like, it was the same format where it's like a film, like just one film that's like a mid-length film, like anywhere from 30 to 50 minutes. And it would play on Christmas Eve. And this happened like all through the 70s, these horror movies. And they had very low budgets, so they're very just like atmospheric and creepy and kind of dialogue heavy a lot of times, but really amazing films. And so our series was really inspired by that. And so it was like, just the timing was perfect because Sam got all the BBC ghost stories for Shudder, and we were finished our film, and he's like, it's perfect because we can launch the new series and then have the old series there for people to reference, to know like where this influence comes from. They can see this like through line of this tradition, which is actually a way older tradition. I mean, it's like it comes from an oral tradition of people telling ghost stories in midwinter. And so, and then it just went into like literature and then radio and then TV. And so it's just it's a tradition that just keeps morphing, through all these different mediums. And so the Haunted Season is just my contribution to that tradition.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah, I love this year's episode. I don't know if you call it episode, but yeah, I thought it was great. I love it. And I love the idea because I grew up telling ghost stories, and I like the idea that there'll be ghost stories from different regions. Because with the, with festivals and different platforms, we get to see a lot of movies from different cultures that we, it just was hard to get a hold of before. It's much more accessible.
Yeah.
I just recently watched those on Shudder. I didn't know where they came from, or I caught one because John Hurt was in it, and I was like, oh my God, what the hell is this? I'm in love. And then I watched them all. I was so happy.
Do they have the John Hurt one? There's a John Hurt.
That one's on
like
Shudder
the remake
now.
of Whistle and I'll Come to You?
I think it was.
Okay. Because I know they have Whistle and I'll Come to You, and then they have the 70s ones, but John Hurt was not in one of the 70s ones. He wasn't until like the 2000s. They made a remake of Whistle and I'll Come to You, and he was in that. But I wonder if you're thinking of Denham Elliott.
Maybe they have that one on there too.
It's possible.
Maybe it's just like a whole collection like that.
Or it's possible you're thinking of Denham Elliott, because Denham Elliott is in one called The Signalman.
That one was real good too. Yeah. Yep. I remember that one.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So anyway, that's great. I'm not sure they
Yeah.
might have like even more of them, but because
could
that
be,
series,
I wasn't aware of them. It was all
Yeah.
new to me.
yeah. But that series continues. It's like it hasn't continued like since the 70s, but it stopped happening for a while, and then they brought it back. And Martin Gaddis has actually been doing for the last 7 years. He's been doing the Ghost Story for Christmas every year.
Nice.
And so, yeah, it's a tradition that kind of died for a while on the BBC.
I'm glad
and
it's
then came
back.
Yeah.
Is that, since you said you did a project about Christmas horror, what is it about Christmas horror that? Because I think there's more horror movies set in Christmas than there are Halloween. And Halloween, you think of horror, but what is it specifically about Christmas?
In the UK, the tradition of the time of year when you would tell ghost stories is Christmas, not Halloween. They didn't really celebrate Halloween, so it's kind of like a newer thing. Now they have people that dress up and go trick-or-treating and stuff, but it wasn't like that even like 20 years ago, so it was really Christmas was always the time over there when that would be associated with ghosts and scary things. But I think in terms of just in general of Christmas horror movies, because there's a million Christmas horror movies that are not related to that UK ghost story tradition, I think there's something about, like people who are just horror fans and people who like darker things can sometimes just be like kind of overwhelmed by the cheeriness or the, or the fake cheeriness of Christmas, like all the stuff like of the consumerism and whatever. And so it's kind of like this, I feel like the Christmas horror movie is like a response, to like having to listen to all this saccharine music like for a whole month or whatever. It's like the horror fans, like we're like, we got to have our thing, if we have to go through this for the whole month, we're gonna have horror movie versions of this, and so I think it's kind of like writing a Christmas song. If you write a Christmas song, it'll be played forever, and it's like if you make a Christmas movie, there's going to be people enjoying that movie forever, because it's like every year it's Christmas. Horror fans are always looking for more Christmas horror movies to watch.
That's a really good point. People are seeking out whatever anti-Christmas thing they can. It's even expanded.
So it's like a way of being connected to the holiday, so that you're not totally alienated from everybody else who's celebrating it. But it's a way of still, it's almost like this cynical way of engaging with it.
Have that balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Christmas holiday horror?
It's hard to say. Somebody was asking me the other day, and like obviously Black Christmas is a big one. Black Christmas is probably a movie I watch almost every Christmas, and I have the sweater that Amalia made. I don't know if you've seen those sweaters that she made. That's like a replica of Olivia Hussey's sweater in Black Christmas.
Oh, that's awesome!
Amazing.
Yeah. So if you look up like Amalia Christmas sweater, you might find it. I don't know if she still makes them or not. But so I watch that a lot of times on Christmas, and then also one of my favorites is Elves.
Yes! In my heart,
Grizzly
I'm like,
Adams,
Elves.
That's what we talked about a lot on the show, actually.
And the one elf glove.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually telling somebody the other day how I had tried to get the department store from Elves to put a plaque outside the building. Like I offered to pay for the plaque. I was like, if I make a plaque that says this is the shooting location of Elves, will you please put it on the building? And yeah, nobody's answered me, but I haven't given up. I'm like still determined to make it happen.
I love that so much.
Yeah, that's a movie. If you explain the premise, it sounds so insane. Yeah, it's like just trying to make the a perfect, the master race with. I don't want to give it away. No spoilers here. But
I have to hope that the people who own the department store don't ask me what.
Don't ask, right? Yes, you don't want to tell them. Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. Just tell them that Grizzly Adams.
It's a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
And I know he has a name. I'm sorry to always call him Grizzly Adams, but. For Brian House, you can please ask how her hair looks so effortlessly perfect all the time.
That's hilarious. My hair looks terrible right now, but thank you.
Well, that was very nice. So, is there any plans to do part 3? I know it's there's a massive amount of
yeah, I don't think so, just because I have a pretty big workload of other stuff at Severin coming up. Like I have another feature documentary that I'm making, and we actually decided it also started as an extra. It was going to be an extra on the Black Emmanuel box set, but I managed to stop it pretty early. I was like, I did a couple interviews for it, and then I was like, no, this is too good. This has to be a feature. And so we kind of stopped working on it, and we did not put it on that box set. And so my next feature is going to be Killing for Culture, which is an adaptation of the 1994 book by David Korekis and David Slater, which is all about Mondo films and snuff films. And just like the idea of capturing real death on film and stuff. So it was a pretty important book when it came out. And so that's a documentary that I'm going to be making for Severin. And so that's going to take up a lot of my time, so that I can't really, you know, but I do have
a much different project, a much different direction.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's much more grim, but also it's very connected to what the kind of horror fan I was, you know, in the 80s and 90s. You know, I was much more of a gore hound when I was a younger horror fan. Like now I'm all into like restraint and quiet, silent, you know, things. But I mean, as a teenager and in my 20s, it was all about excess. I just wanted like the most violence, the most gore, everything, you know. And so in a way, this project is kind of mixing the sort of more scholarly ways that my work has developed into, but kind of like still addressing this interest that I had as a younger person, where I was like really obsessed with seeing like the most disturbing stuff all the time, you know.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you said that, because like I love all this stuff on all the haunts, but that's what I like about horror, because sometimes I want to watch something, you know, a basket case, or I want to watch, you know, a real big gore movie, like you said, like I don't know, Dawn of the Dead or something. And I think horror. So there are still fans online, believe me, who argue what's horror or not. But I like that horror is all different things. It depends, you know, what type of mood I'm in. And do you still watch that kind of stuff, and what changes? Is it just like as your life goes on, like your interests change?
I think it's just waves. Things go in waves. You just become obsessed with different, you know, I'm just like an obsessive person, you know, so I just become obsessed with different things. And so it's like I was very obsessed with that kind of stuff for a while. And then I just became obsessed with a bunch of other things, you know, and that continues. It still evolves, you know, every couple of years I get obsessed with a new thing, you know, and I'm focused on that. But I also know that, you know, if you're a horror fan, especially in the early 90s and stuff, it was like the kinds of fanzines and the kinds of, you know, what we would have called extreme culture and stuff back then. A lot of it is stuff that people nowadays would, I mean, all those people would be canceled or something now. You know, I mean, it was like, it was really pushing boundaries in ways that you just couldn't get away with now, you know. And a lot of times it was like younger people who were doing certain things as a form of just, you know, they just like to make extreme art as a form of like performance art or something, you know. But it was just an interesting time, you know. And so this book, Killing for Culture, kind of grew out of not just the author's interest in these specific types of movies, but it was part of like a larger culture around extreme art, you know, whether it was extreme music or extreme performance art or visual arts or everything, you know. And yeah, so it's just kind of, the book was, hugely important to me. And so it's nice to be able to honor it. And I'm really glad that the author of the book, David Korekis, is actually really excited that we're doing the movie. So, because I assume, I'm pretty sure he's actually been asked other times by other people to adapt the book, and he hasn't said yes to it. So, so I'm really glad that he's trusting us to make the movie.
Yeah, I wrote down. I've not read it. I'm interested in reading the book.
Yeah, there's a new edition of the book. Like, so I read it when it came out, and so he actually did an expanded and revised version of it like 10 years ago. I think it was 10 years ago, but it goes all the way up to like ISIS.
I was going to ask about that. Will your film, will it cover up to, because I say it came out in 94, you're graduated. So will your book cover that up until then, or will you go after 94 with like more modern stuff as well?
It will, I mean, my focus is probably going to actually be a lot more on 60s, 70s, and 80s. But there will be all the current or I guess things like ISIS is not, those things are already several years old now. But I am definitely going to cover that kind of stuff, but it's going to be more kind of towards the end of the film. There won't be like a half an hour focused on that stuff or anything, because it's going to be a delicate balance, like the aesthetic for the film and also making it palatable for a viewer, because you can't just have like an onslaught of like, it's like it has to still be balanced the same way that like Woodlands Dark and Days Bewitched was, where people have times they can stop and think about what people are talking about and stuff, So there's a lot of pieces moving around in my head for that movie right now.
Sounds great. And it's interesting to me because we're all roughly in the same age. And as I'm sitting here thinking about like, we're all getting older together. Mm-hmm. And looking back at what developed us, I think it's just going to naturally be appealing to just kind of see insight into ourselves and what our culture is, because we're our own culture. I think it's going to be wonderful to have and share with others.
Yeah. Thanks.
And where can people follow you to see what you're up to? Because you're up to a lot of things.
I mean, if they want to follow Severin stuff, they can go to severinfilms.com. But I also have a website that's just my own website, so it'll have all my Severin stuff I work on. I tend to promote on there, but as well as all my other books and projects and whatever. So, and that's just my name. So it's just Kier-La Janisse.com. And people can do it with a hyphen or without a hyphen. It'll just redirect to the same place. But yeah, so Kier-La Janisse.com. All my stuff is up there.
And Kier-La Janisse, I'm sorry I said Kaylee earlier. We honestly love this. We've talked about it a few times on the show, and we'll talk more about the movies, throughout the year and stuff. So, not just when you're here. And we'd love to have you back sometime if you're interested.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Thanks. Well, thanks for having me on.
It's been great to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And what an amazing series of films. The ones I saw, I'm just so excited about. I love having the opportunity. There, like you said, there's things here that we just wouldn't see. We just
never would have known about.
I'm a big fan of all the extra stuff, so I love that there's a lot of commentary tracks. I'm a big fan of commentary tracks, and you get the rise of streaming. That's great. Everyone uses streaming, but you miss stuff like commentary tracks.
Oh yeah.
There's no way that you could have some of these movies on streaming, but you wouldn't have all the extras and the bonuses and the shorts without the physical release.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the things that keeps us going at Severin. It really is that we like making those things, and there's obviously enough people out there who like watching those things. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Got an audience of 3 anyway, right here.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, that was excellent.
She's super.
Yeah, she was super.
Yeah.
Cool. And then the fact that she used to work for like Fangoria, like, okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Gonna throw this out there. Okay.
And I was really happy that she brought up this new project, because I like that. I like all. We mention this all the time that you like all different types of horror, not just one specific thing. And it's a very big. That's a big range there from like death on film to folk horror. So I like that.
Absolutely. So I don't know if you did end up seeing To Fire You Come at Last.
Yes, I did.
Troy, did you get to see it?
I did not.
You'd love it.
Yeah,
You'd love it so much. She was describing it as that corpse walk.
Oh, okay.
It's black and white. It's so atmospheric, and there's this impending fear going on, but it's also very funny.
Oh, okay. All right. This is all stuff that I dig. So.
Yeah, it's excellent. The actors are all. It's just It's been one of my favorite movies I saw at the Lovecraft Festival. I think it was maybe even my favorite one. It's not traditional Lovecraftian at all, so don't think, oh, there's going to be tentacles and things like that, because it's not it. It's cannot recommend it enough to anybody out there, and you can get it in the box set.
Oh, okay, all right, great.
Yes, so you can get it. All y'all out there, you're gonna have to buy it. But I think from what I've seen, this collection is going to be epic. Oh, amazing. I've loved everything I got a chance to see.
Yeah, it's awesome. And it's so loaded. It's not something you can just sit down and watch it in a weekend. It's going to be tons of stuff to watch over time, which I love. Yeah, lots of shorts and really cool. Like I was watching a documentary on the Psychomania one about the meanings of standing stones, and it was really interesting. It would be like a documentary you'd watch, in PBS or something in a lot of ways, and just so much stuff on there. I loved it.
Yeah, and
the book's really cool too.
And not that people would make a documentary or a collection and not care, but the depth of that interests that people over at Severin seem to have to really, they're really digging deep. They didn't have to be this ginormous box set. And here we are. It's beautiful. I love it. Having those.
It's just awesome in every way,
Yes. Beck and Nico too, The Vengeful Spirit. I know we didn't have time to talk about the films more, my lord. It's a Japanese ghost film. And it's so awesome. It's older too. It's black and white.
Yeah. Let me know. You know what? Let me know which ones you'd like to talk about. I'll I'll let Troy borrow them, and then we can talk about them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
different
we
weeks.
can do that.
That would be cool.
Yes.
Yeah,
that would be excellent because there's good stuff here.
Yeah.
And I think it would be great to be able to share it more with our audience.
Yeah, we could talk about one every week or so when we have time.
Yeah.
By the way, I really like Troy's shirt here he got for his birthday.
Is Troy's birthday now?
It was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But I got him this shirt. He hasn't worn it on the show before.
Yeah,
it's pretty sweet. You actually got me this one for Christmas one year.
Oh, yes.
Oh, very nice.
Speaking of that kind of,
yeah,
like
I made a GIF actually of us wearing those. I have the hat over there. The elf hats that make the noise and flip around and go. Boop, 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 boop. I made an animated GIF of them.
It's pretty sweet.
Yes. Because real quick, I wore it on a show the other day that's been clipped all over the internet with my new pal Stuttering John, and so that's been clipped all over the place. So it's a very weird experience here.
Mm-hmm.
That's a rabbit hole. I'm not sure if I should have went down.
Yeah, well,
I think the Dabbleverse should have been like beyond me.
Yeah, I didn't.
I don't know. Last night I was back on with Stuttering John, and this one's been clipped a lot already, and it was late last night. So.
Live your dream, Neal.
It's been a weird experience, but it's been fun so far. Mm-hmm. I've been warned heavily to stay away from it, but we'll find out. But anyway, we'll be coming up in about 15 minutes. We'll be joined by Mark Andrew Hamer, director of Replicator.
Yeah,
so that'll be fun.
Very cool.
And we've got we'll be telling you more about some films for Severed Limbs, which is coming up at the end of January.
Do you have any trailers to play in the 15 minutes block here?
I do. We'll go over here to some trailers. Here is Vernon, a serial killer manifesto.
Oh.
Works. Hello, my name is Scott Goldberg. I'm the director of The Forest Hills, which was Shelley Duvall's return movie.
He and I were not on the best of terms.
So with your help, we will be able to make a movie that goes back to the days before digital. And here's a little teaser through the eyes of Vernon and Harry. film revolves around a serial killer and his brother, Harry. It's a documentary-style film that focuses on blood, gore, and violence. So for more information and perks, please go to Indiegogo.
Well, that looks cool.
Yeah.
I was trying to find something, but I don't think it's online for free. But I almost brought this up during the interview. But David Gregory, who runs Severin and who did the documentary, he was in the Once and Future Smash, but he was cut out of the Once and Future Smash. But he is in the deleted scenes. I was trying to see if we had the deleted scenes online. I was going to show the clip. I thought it was a very funny scene, but it's no longer in the movie. But it is on the Blu-ray in the deleted scenes.
Well, is this a part that Neal maybe wrote?
No, it was actually not necessarily ad-lib, but it was not in the original script.
Oh.
And he happened to be at Mad Monster when we were filming the movie. And it was just like an idea that we had, and we filmed it. And I think it's very funny. So what people know Severin Films, we go up and ask him about, what they do. And he's talking about putting out these lost classics and blah, blah, blah. And then we were like, oh, what about End Zone 2? And he just goes, never heard of it. And then, it was a very quick scene. I think it was funny. It did not make the final cut.
Well,
you got
to kill your babies or something like that.
Yes.
Can't always do everything. It's an important lesson in life. You cannot always do everything.
That's very true. We cannot kill this here.
Oh my goodness. You gotta fix that focus, dude. Jeez, it's been ever. It looks good, in this moment, it looks a little bit like marshmallows.
The teeth do? Yeah, you're right. You're right. They should have glossed them up a little bit.
I like them, but in this moment, from this perspective.
What about the lenses? Like just the tiny lenses?
That's awesome. It's all awesome. It's crazy.
He said I crossed the line though when I added hair under the navel and stuff. That's just beyond what it should have been.
I found a few of these.
Nice.
Oh, I know someone actually who wants one. Two people who do. So
I should put it up here in the Christmas. Well, it's actually Halloween, but we'll say it's Christmas. Oh, that looks pretty good, actually.
Yep.
I don't know if you can even see it, but there's so much stuff going on there. So let's see. Should we go? You want to play another trailer while waiting for the next guest?
Do we have a replicator one we can show?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Do replicator.
All right, let me just go up here. I'm going to play Astral Plane Drifter with Todd, and then we'll play Replicator while I grab it.
Okay.
me guess. Court decision didn't go your way.
Well, yeah, there's that, too. Dad called me last week.
Oh, shit! Ron, what are you doing here?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious.
Shut up. What did he say?
I made a mess, Sally. Good morning, dear. From now on, I'm gonna be the father you deserve.
I don't even know who the real Ron is anymore.
We'll get this figured out.
It's your job. Do it right this time.
After I took all the organs out of the body, I couldn't get them all back in. This one really has us stumped. A lot of peculiar pieces to put together.
Ron's dead. What? How?
Yeah, I don't know. That's what we're trying to figure out. Some disgusting disease.
It's not contagious or anything, right?
She is everything. And everywhere, you just have to know how to listen for her voice. Ron hurt me in ways that I can't even describe. You deserve to be tried in a court of law, because that is the world that we live in. Kind of jumpy, aren't you? No, sister. We're family now. This should be interesting.
There we go, Replicator. We'll be talking to the director momentarily.
Yeah. Pretty sweet.
Yeah, pretty wild practical effects.
Oh,
Yeah, amazing practical effects. So, until such a time, Christmas holiday horror. How many minutes? Just a few minutes?
Yeah, we got a few minutes, but I know if we do a show next week, Puppy Salute here in the chat would like to join us for the Christmas horror episode.
Oh, woohoo.
Yeah. What day is that?
Thursday. It's the day after Christmas.
Yes. Probably will work.
All right. There won't be a guest, so there won't be as much pressure. But we may be doing a bonus episode this weekend. We'll with a couple guests, Damien Maffei and the director of Silent Bite, new vampire horror film.
Silent Bite. Did I see Silent Bite?
It's I sent you the screener, so I'll resend it.
You send me a lot of screeners, man.
Well, it was the one. The poster was cool, and we showed some of it a few weeks ago.
Poster was so cool.
No, that's what you said. It was because it shows like the little. They look almost like elves, and then it's got the mouth.
Oh yeah, that does look cool. Yes. Yeah. Very cool.
And she's really cool. She was the director was at Valkyrie Film Festival, and I might have met her at Buffalo Dreams Fantastic Film Festival. I don't know. But anyway, we'd like to get that in before Christmas, so that's probably gonna happen Sunday.
Yeah, that sounds
Sunday afternoon. Episode.
Sounds like a plan, man. So, what else is going on that we're going to talk about later? Just a regular, goofy foolishness for people to stick around for.
Yeah. So, some festivals coming up. I'll have some new movies that have been selected for Severed Limbs, which is coming out the end of January. There's a possibility that it will be live virtually as always, but also in a theater in Buffalo at the same time with Ty Chaman manning that, and possibly. So we're going to do Q&As this time. So how it's going to be is a block of shorts, probably trailers while I'm getting everyone together, and then we'll do a short Q&A with the directors who are available of that previous block. So let's say there's 5-6 shorts, maybe 5 or 6 people if they're there. We'll have them all together, do a Q&A about the movies we just watched. We'll have to keep it fairly short, so we're not here for 20 hours, and then it'll be a block of Q&As in between each block of shorts, which I think will be fun to do. And plus, those then will stay permanently on the website and on the YouTube.
The interviews,
yeah, the Q&A part, and if it works out, Ty will be in the theater asking the fans there for questions. So
it's pretty sweet.
And Ty is one of the judges as well.
Amazing.
Yeah. So thanks, Ty. Is involved in setting that all up.
Ty is a hero.
Yeah, so we showed his movie last Saturday for Saturday Night Frights, Slasher Days of Summer, and he said an amazing thing about Without Your Head. He said Without Your Head is how he met a bunch of filmmakers. He's gotten involved with some different he knew Gregory before the show, but through Without Your Head, he's met some other filmmakers, and he's helping out with Troy Oke's movie, and it was a really nice thing to hear. He said, like, gets independent film out there. And not only that, it helps other independent filmmakers and actors and creators interact with each other and work on projects. And I was like, wow, that's a really great compliment.
Yeah, absolutely. So for people who have been there before to these, people who haven't been, keep your eyes peeled. Do you have a firm date on this upcoming Severed Limbs?
Severed Limbs is January 26th, I believe. It's the last Sunday of January.
It's very exciting. It's been just blossoming.
Yeah, and it'll be the Valkyrie Film Festival sponsoring it. So thank you guys.
Valkyrie.
Film Festival.
I told her to not take it personally because you can't pronounce things. So
yeah,
it's just more evidence.
And then so we're gonna skip the spring one for Arbor Day, and Severed Limbs will be back in the summer. Though we have another sponsor for that one. I'll announce later on, and so it'll be back in the summer. So that's great.
Wow, man, that filming is coming right around the corner. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's months away, but it'll be a good time. It'll be good. We'll get everything together. We'll start.
Months is right around the corner.
Huh?
Months is right around the corner.
Oh, I know. It'll be a good time.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So hopefully Mark shows up here. If not, though, we'll talk about Renegade Film Festival's coming up in Atlanta in February. We cannot make it there, but we will have the folks from Renegade on the show, and maybe some filmmakers from Renegade. It's the 40th anniversary of Reanimator, so I believe they're showing.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, so I don't know if anyone's going to be there from Reanimator, but that's exciting.
Never know. Could be.
It's also the 40th anniversary.
Sneak in, you never know.
Exactly. The 40th anniversary of Toxic Avenger. And so a lot of the Toxic Avenger original cast are going to be at Dead of Winter #2.
Oh.
Nice.
So we're going to have Mark Torgo will return to Without Your Head to talk about that when we get closer to Dead of Winter.
Mark, the guy that got us into the Magic Castle.
Yeah.
It was pretty amazing, and we did a big step and cut ourselves short to visit with Lawrence Harvey.
Yeah, and we didn't realize what a big favor Mark was doing for us, because it is a very prestigious place to get into. It's very hard to get into.
Yeah,
and Mark got us in, and since then, people are like, "What? You got into the Magic Castle?"
Mm-hmm.
But Mark's a great guy.
Yes, maybe. Maybe if he was to ever do us a favor again, we'll appreciate it more. It was very amazing. And the food was pretty good.
Yeah. No, it was very good. It was very good. We have a picture of me, and then when we got a picture of Annabelle in there, we were told, no, none of that.
Yeah, because you can't. Because
there's
magic
in the joint. Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's magic around. You can't take pictures, which is pretty wild. So, do you remember the story about the two kids that saw us and asked if we were wizards?
Yes, yeah, that was on our way
to
Human Centipede 3 premiere.
I hope you said yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was that was a huge compliment.
Oh yeah,
so funny. They must have overheard us talking about Magic Castle. I think we might have been recording in public, and because we used to do more of that then, talking about Magic Castle, and it's the streets of LA. And they were two young men, probably 15 in their early mid-teens, and they were, "You're going to Magic Castle? are you wizards? And of course they could be just ridiculous and trying to pick on us, but in either event it was like,
Yeah.
yes we are.
That's cool either way. Absolutely.
Oh my god, it's amazing. So yep, it was pretty great. LA is an interesting place.
So we do have plans to make this is a 1-day shoot. It's nothing huge. A very short that we're going to play. I mentioned this last week at Severed Limbs that will include characters of Arbor Day, but it's not, Arbor Day, but it's just a very short 1-day shoot that will help everyone get into character.
That takes place in the same world?
Yes, same characters.
And you got there, man.
Yeah, now that could be from this short.
Oh.
All right, and now we're back here. We've been back, but we are joined by our second guest here, Replicator. We just showed the trailer, and the trailer looks amazing. We've seen the movie, and the movie's amazing.
Yes.
Mark Andrew Hamer, how are you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Excellent.
Great. Happy to have you.
Yeah. Thank you. Glad to be here.
So we showed the trailer, but for people who missed it or they saw the trailer and they don't know what to think, can you give them a quick idea of what Replicator is?
Yeah, a lot of people throw out like Lovecraftian, cosmic horror. I just like to say really weird. Like it's just got some really weird, trippy, kind of gory stuff. I mean, it's a gooey movie.
It certainly is.
I like that. And you
sources.
Yes, that's true. And you get into that right away. The very opening scene, you're like, "Bam! This is the movie you're about to watch."
That's it too. Like you're not pulling any tricks. We're not like if you're here, this is what you're gonna see.
There was no bait and switch going on. It was boom, there it is.
Yeah. And that one, and actually we shot that last. Like that was, so we shot everything else in the film, and we ended up doing that scene as a pickup day, actually. So we went through the whole, like a principal photography of it, and then we wanted to give Dave Greathouse, like the special effects guy, as much time as he needed to like make that work. And so it was kind of like when we're putting the schedule up, it's like, let's just put that at the end. He's got plenty of other things on his plate, for this film. Let's do that. And then, push that towards the end of the schedule. And it ended up being like the first scene in the movie.
And the effects are amazing. And I know you've done other, horror movies, werewolf and stuff. Is it the same like team for the effects?
No, this was a completely different team. Like the first film, was done in the Cleveland area, Cleveland, Ohio area, by a guy named Alan Tuskus. This one was all Dave Greathouse in kind of coming out of I'm going to say Ashland, Columbus-ish area, but he's all over the place. And he had done a lot of work with Cranked Up Films, which is, who we did this through. And so we were able to kind of like make that connection there. And, I don't know, have you guys ever had a chance to talk to Dave before?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dave's a fascinating guy, and super, super talented and just incredibly like easy to work with. And it's kind of like crazy because you're going through all this stuff and, in the film, and you're having like real conversations, about really weird things, but you're doing it with like a straight face. It's just like one of the coolest things, like, okay, so how is that arm going to drop and how's it going to bounce? Right? Like,
this is my life.
yeah. So, it was really cool, but yeah, no, that was Dave on this one, Dave Greathouse.
So, how did you get to know him?
Through Cranked Up Films. And so Cranked Up is who we partner with to create this film. And they had worked with Dave before in the past on other films. And Phil Garrett, the producer of Replicator, I don't know, maybe if you guys had a chance to talk to Phil or not. He's been in, like this horror genre for a while now, and he's another, just a pro. And he kind of introduced us, when we started kind of getting into that like the pre-production phase, and we're looking at the script and we're like, how are we going to pull this off? And it was it was Phil that kind of like shoved us off the dock, so to speak, with Dave.
When you're like telling people about your this is my pitch, do you yourself use Lovecraft or cosmic horror, or is this just something that comes out like after the movie's done and people start saying that?
I never use those terms, right? Like from like being a fan of the genre, like probably what like people are going to say, but like for me and for how we kind of like doing the pitch, it was really just, here's the kind of stuff we want to do, and then let the chips fall, kind of like how they are. Now I will say that like we were really kind of like inspired by like 80s style of filmmaking, and like that's what I grew up on and that's what I love. And so we really wanted to do something in that vein, or that kind of like gave like a little nod of the hat to like 80s horror films, and it kind of naturally came out as this Lovecraftian thing. But that wasn't something that wasn't words that like or terms that we used coming out of the gate.
Yeah,
I think that's an important thing with making Lovecraftian horror, is that it's not the goal. Like let's be Lovecraftian horror. It's just naturally comes out because there are certain kinds of stories that's just the way it tends to go, is towards icky.
There's a lot of influence of Lovecraft in a lot of
unexplainable shit.
Yeah, and that's what kind of like this. I'm glad you said that. And I'm not just like the only one that thinks that, But like that was we were putting some things together for this, and it was just, what can we do that's just weird, a little different, has some unexplained things. I don't think we'd have time to explain everything. Let's leave a little mystery, and then that kind of like it just came out, that way.
It was very effective.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
So when you're like some of the real like heavy effect scenes that don't really have a lot of dialogue, is that like is that scripted out, detailed, or do you have like do you have like a lot of pictures like drawn out how that's going to be? Like how is a scene like that before even you shoot it? How is it like scripted out?
Yeah, it's funny, like in word form, like it's not a lot of, it doesn't take up a lot of real estate on the page, and the way that it really kind of gets developed is in like the storyboard phase of it. And then what really takes hold is like when you actually see the application and you're there and you're like, this is so cool. We have to find like more ways of using this thing. Right? Like how many different ways can we shoot it? All right. Maybe it's even the same shot and we just move the light just so we get more coverage of it. Like someone put so much time and work into this thing and it looks so cool. We need to like make more of a meal out of it. Which doesn't necessarily always come through like when it's just in like in script form.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad I know our friend Joe Castro, he's an effects guy in LA, and he's sometimes gets mad. Well, probably mad that like he'll make something cool and like the person won't shoot it well, or doesn't shoot enough of it, like you said. So I like that, like you see something like, oh, this is wild, it inspires you to like, we don't want to hide it, we want to see it, we want to make it part of the movie.
Yeah. I almost think about the ways of like, in terms of like how many shots to get of it, like in the moment, like you think about like how long did it take to create this, right? And then on the other side, let's give that an equal amount of attention, like shooting it. And some of the stuff in this, in this film, it just had so much detail, like there's airbrushing and there's, different, molding techniques and, all that stuff. We're like, okay, like you really kind of have to show it, like let the audience see it, it's
the art.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I mean, and like the scene with the autopsy scene, right? Like that was pretty incredible with how that all kind of like went together, where, you're there in the morning kind of like putting together this, appliance that, goes on to our actor, but then he's in like this built table, that has some, magic tricks to it. And he has to get in there. And so like everybody's working for like so long, and you're like, okay, we need to make sure that we capture this in the right way, even if it's not in the script. I mean, look at your schedule and it's like, okay, I know what's coming up next. I think we can push that a little bit just because I don't want to leave this space right now.
So how much input do you have? Obviously it's your movie and stuff, but like for the look of like the monster it's in the poster art and stuff, like do you just let them create whatever they want, or do you like, I want it to look like this? Like, how much back and forth is there?
Yeah, you know what, the creature itself, like I had a rough idea, right? And like it was just, something that would be scary growing in your basement, right? Like if you came down and you're like, oh man, what is that? Like what would that be? And then like multiply that by like 10, right? So there was like a rough, like I did like a real rough like 3D model, just to kind of get like size and texture and kind of how a thing would be on the wall. And then that was it. It was one frame, kind of like gave it to Dave, and then he started like thinking through of, kind of like how that's gonna work. And we knew that we wanted to have something that looked like over time it would maybe grow and expand and wrap around and kind of like be organic. And so how do you pull that off in a look, right? And so like then he takes over.
I definitely gave you that vibe though. I could see that.
Yeah.
I'm in my basement when I do the show, and I have something very similar over here.
Well, we have that application is actually so we shot that in the basement of Cranked Up Films, and I think they left it up. I think they still.
I wouldn't. Yeah, that's a perfect selling point for a horror company. Like, go down in the basement, and they got a bunch of DVDs and Blu-rays and a big monster growing on the wall.
Yeah. But even, with Dave, even coming down to some of the other stuff, like we knew, I guess I'll say the birthing scene, we knew kind of like what the mechanisms were. Like we knew what needed to happen, right? Like she needs to do X, she needs to do Y, she needs to do Z for all this stuff to happen. And then Dave was kind of like, okay, here's the type of stuff that we can do to achieve that, and here's kind of like how that would look, and then we're like, okay, that fits within, kind of how we're thinking of what the story beat would be.
And who actually did the poster art? Because I really love the I think that, I mean, so there's a lot of movies out there, and when you used to go to the video store, a video would catch your eye with cool poster art, and there's not video stores today, but really the poster that you see online is kind of the same idea. Like, see that, and it's like, oh, this looks cool.
Yeah. And I mean, it's funny, that was kind of, again, like the throwback to the 80s, kind of vibe of like, the artwork that goes along with things are just as cool as the film themselves sometimes. And so
sometimes they're cool. That's all you have. But
yeah. You want to put that, you want to hang it on your wall. In fact, I have it on the wall over here. It's nice. Like, and people come in and they're like, oh, yeah. But no, the artist, he's actually, I found him on Instagram, right? So like I follow like a bunch of different artists, right? They're like to see like tattoo artists and people that just like do like cool hand drawn stuff. And like his his work came up in like you might like this too, or like a suggestion. I was kind of looking, and all of his stuff is kind of like that style of like what the poster is. It all has like those fleshy tones, like the shiny gooiness to it. And he does everything in with colored pencils and markers.
Cool.
Nice. So I creepily just, like reached out to him on Instagram and said like, hey man, we have this cool idea for a poster. Would you be, willing to work with us? And he said, yeah, he'd do it. And then we worked completely through Instagram communicating.
Oh, wow.
To do this. So like we showed him like some still frames of, from the movie of the actual creature, because the creature came first and then the poster came second. And he like took it from there. Like we like kind of gave him some direction of like, you know, there's a one scene in the movie where, you know, like our actress is kind of like reaching up, you know, like and so that was kind of like the inspiration, or like we kind of want like this silhouette female, you know, in front of this just gross thing. And that's kind of like the direction we gave him. And he started coming back with like sketches, you know, he started all with pencil for like just to kind of get composition and all that kind of stuff. And then he came back with like color tests and how we're going to do that. And then I happened to find like this cool comic book. It was actually like a Batman comic book where it had like this neon glowing light on one side and like another light. Just the way that it was lit was really cool. And I just said like I don't even know what I was expecting, but I sent that to him. I'm like, can you do something like this? And then within like 12 hours, he comes back with it all shaded with like the light coming in from the side. I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, it was like absolutely incredible.
It gives me a Richard Corbin vibe. I really like it.
Yeah, and he's from Belgium. I didn't even know that.
Oh wow!
I didn't know that until you know, like he like I asked for like if he can send me the original artwork, you know, that he he did, and he sends it, and the package shows up with like a Belgian, you know, like return address. I'm like, oh, cool.
That looks like it would have been so fun to have made as an artist.
Yeah.
It looks like that would have been a really good time.
Yeah. No, it was definitely cool. And he did it so fast. Right? Awesome. It was like
if you're into it, you do things pretty quick.
Yeah. He just did it. And like I was like, whoa, I was expecting like weeks, and it was like days.
Yeah.
You know,
you saw that color and was like, I got it.
Oh yeah, that would have been it.
Yeah.
I just grabbed his name, Nicholas Rosius.
Yes. Okay. Yep. Yeah. Follow him on Instagram. His stuff is like, it's amazing. Yeah, if you like that poster, you'll love everything else he does.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm actually.
And you will love the movie as well. It's very much.
Yeah, I would agree. Yep. Very much.
Actors.
Yeah. Oh yeah, all his stuff's very cool. Well, I'll look at that later. But yeah, wow, you could look at some of his monsters here and make and have ideas for a whole new movie. Maybe
exactly. He basically like gave you the blueprint for, you know, like, different concepts.
Yeah. Holy shit. Yeah, some of the stuff's awesome. Yeah, I dig it. And we found a new guy we're gonna check out. So I like that. So when you're doing stuff like the birthing scene or like a weird sex scene with a lot of effects or something, what's the vibe like on set for when you have to do something like that, when you're filming something like that?
Yeah, so something like that, we take it like the people's like personal privacy like very, very seriously. We had an intimacy coordinator on set, you know, for that particular scene, and we handle it like a little bit differently than other scenes in terms of like, you know, who's on monitor, who's watching stuff. We basically shut all the monitors down. You know, like this isn't the time to, you know, like have, you know, like multiple monitors and you know, whatever. Like
not necessary.
Yeah, right. No, it's not necessary. And then we really look at it from like an art perspective, right? So like if it serves the art of it, then it's probably a good idea. If it doesn't serve the art of it, then you're doing it just to do it, right? And you probably shouldn't do that. Oh, I mean, I shouldn't say that, but like that's how we did it. You know, and then it was very that scene probably more than others was more choreographed. In terms of like, here are the exact shots that we're going to get. Here's like the sequence that it's going to be, right? So like, and then here's kind of like here's those shots to make that sequence, right? Like to get to the start, to they get around, to they get on top, to do the thing, and then we got to be out, right? Yeah. You know, so that was kind of like that, and then but it ends up being like, you know, when you do it very, you know, like mindful of all of that, and you know, it kind of runs pretty smooth.
Yeah, and it looks crazy on film. So.
Yeah. I mean, and you have to have and kudos to Caitlin Newberry. I mean, like that's one of those things like you just have to own it. Like you just have to, like, it has to be your thing. you have to love it, and you have to like, just kind of like go for it, which I think a lot of people do, but it takes a little something special to do a scene like that.
Yeah. I wouldn't do it.
Right.
And no one would watch it if I did.
It'd be a different audience.
Yeah. Yeah, very, very, very niche audience.
Yeah.
I think it makes a lot of sense what you're saying about how people, a scene like this, you have to sell it.
Yeah.
And it's a hard sell considering what's going on. And so the person getting really into it, it's different than I think a regular kind of intimate scene.
Right.
Because it's assumed what that experience would be like between, normal humans.
Right. Yeah. Right. Well, and also I think what was like the kind of something tough within that. So like she had to scream, right? And we knew that we were going to use those screams and do some effects and other things in post, but we knew we were going to, kind of like capture those screams. And so you can't do that scene without like projecting. Yeah. Right. And then if you just think about it, if you were just to scream as hard as you can, like over and over and over in a very short time, like you're going to get really, really hoarse, and you're going to be like, stop making me do this. Yeah. So we tried to like limit like the number of times, that we had to, like capture that while maintaining like, okay, we still got to get like the close up. Right. Mm-hmm. We still got to kind of get like that wide shot. Right. So it's like, okay, there's going to be a handful of times that we get it, but let's not overshoot it. Right. When we got it, and we got to move on.
Had you worked with some of the cast before, like Bray, who plays the lead, Darby?
No, I haven't. In fact, Bray, and she'll tell you this story too, she actually auditioned for the Neal character. And then when we saw her, we're like, she's fantastic, but she's just I think she'd be a much better Darby. We all thought she would be a much better Darby. And so, we asked her, would you mind, like auditioning, for this one? And she's like, oh my gosh, thank you. Yes. I would love to audition for Darby. And we're like, okay, good. I think we're matching things appropriately here. But no, I haven't worked with her before, but she has one of those like personality types where if you know her for like 5 minutes, it feels like you've known her for 5 years. She's just kind of very like open and willing to kind of like work like that way. So it was a really cool experience.
And how about Jim, who plays Ron?
Never met Jim. Never met Jim before that. And so Jim came from Phil, so like Phil had worked, the producer, Phil had worked with Jim before, and that was his suggestion, like for that role, because that was another one that was, kind of tough to cast because he's
a very unlikable guy.
Yeah.
So you want him to be like charismatic at the same time.
Yeah, but you're an awful person. Right? Like you're an awful
character. He's not talking to me.
No, not Jim. Yeah, you're right. Of course, the character has to be awful, right? Mm-hmm. But then there has to be something. I like him, damn it. Like one of those kind of like vibes to him too. And then that, like, I think that's what.
He's really. That's why I thought, honestly, maybe like you knew him and you're like, oh, I have this guy in mind when I'm writing this character. You know what I mean?
No,
he really is perfect for that role.
No, he was great, and he there's a lot of fun stuff that he did, in different takes that wasn't exactly like scripted that way, but he put his own like spin on things, and it ended up being like fantastic. Like one of my favorite things is like when he's making the burritos and he rolls his R's. He's like, breakfast burritos, That's so silly, but I love it. Like let's just do that. And then all of his kind of like when he's walking down the alley and all that kind of banter, like the way that's written, it's like, drunk Ron walks down, like the alley. And so he just starts just rapping, right? And so a lot of the stuff that he's saying, we're like, well, that's hilarious. Well, that's great. Let's use that. So he did a really great job of, kind of making that character, come to life, as unlikable as that character was like envisioned to be. It was
slightly charming.
Yeah.
Was the character was the character written to be charming as well, or did he really add that to the role?
Well, he really added that to the role, but there was a certain amount of charisma that he had to have to make it like in word form to make it believable that he could do the things that he was doing, and he can interact in that way with, like certain characters. Like he couldn't just be like a complete slob because it never would have worked, right? Like
no one's gonna
would have been like, no, forget
willingly,
right? So we had to have something like that, and he just kind of like took it to the next level.
Yeah, no, he's really stand out in the movie.
He's great in it.
Yeah, and so what was it like to play at festivals? Because I imagine it's a movie that plays well with a live audience.
Yeah, no, it was, and the festivals were great. Like we started off with Nightmares Film Festival in Columbus, and we used that as
I've been there. It's a great festival.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and that was like that was like the world premiere. That was like the first time that we were showing it to anyone that wasn't like part of the project, right? And so like that was like, I was like, okay, here we go. Let's see what happens. And it's really good that it's like that, like the target audience that like appreciates kind of like the work you're doing. Like the general public's a little different, because they may or may not be horror fans, right? So it's a little bit different. But at least with like something like Nightmares and those, specific festivals, everybody in there is, is like-minded.
No weirdo,
which is cool. But no, it was good. I think one of the things that we were most concerned about is we put a lot of like, I don't want to say stupid humor, but it was stupid humor in there, right? And we just kind of wanted to know, I hope this lands. Let's see. And there was like, oh, you're supposed to laugh at that, kind of vibe. And when you see it in the theaters, that laughter kind of becomes like contagious for others. Someone starts laughing, they're like, okay, I'm supposed to laugh at that. Right?
Exactly. Sometimes people don't know if it was, am I supposed to find this?
Right. Yes. And then like when you're like, yes, it was really that dumb of a thing that he said. You should be laughing at that. And that's what's kind of cool about the, like the theater, experience is because you get to, it's more interactive, and it's
especially horror and comedy. So horror comedy, I think, is great for festival in the theater setting.
Yeah. And we put our sound designer, his name is Rich Maurer. He did like all like the dialogue cleanup. He did the sound design, the Foley, like the mix, and then a gentleman named Will Musser. He did the music score. But those guys put so much. We were talking about special effects, earlier. The sound people put so much, effort into all the nuance and like, filling the whole spectrum from like the low end, like thuds to like, like the high end crispy stuff, and making the dialogue so clean that like, if you're watching it on a computer, you don't get that. And so to see it in the theater and to kind of like feel that low end and then kind of like, experience that.
I think that's overlooked for the theater experience.
It is,
because you think you're looking at the big screen, obviously, but you feel the music and it's surrounded. Not just the music, the sound, and it's surrounding you, and you can't escape from all your senses and in the theater.
Yeah. I mean, like there's a lot of stuff that we watch, like when we're watching like a screener on the phone, just to like make sure that it plays or make sure that the link works. And it's like those guys don't even want to listen to it because they're like 50% of my work isn't experienced, in that environment, right? So that's why we, the theaters. God, I wish people went to theaters more.
We do, but I agree, and big fan of festivals.
Well, hopefully, it'll make a comeback, like. Records and such things have been, people are wanting to get in touch with this stuff.
Well, independent horror movies actually have been getting out there more, and I think a lot of it, it's the success of Terrifier 2, but I don't know, it just seems like that is something that people like to go see. Besides the giant, Marvel movies, is like for a movie that's like in a smaller budget, it's the horror movies.
Right.
And it's a good time. Now, did you have a lot of experience with festivals before Replicator? Like, had you gone with your previous movies?
Yeah. So, my experience with festivals before that, with previous movies was more along the lines of like the documentary type films that we do, in a lot of more serious, like documentaries normally like serious content matter, where like you're not laughing, you're sending a message, you're proving an argument, and it's a little bit different, so it's a little bit more kind of like uptight, where like something like Replicator, going out, like, well, I think I'm gonna have a beer before we play it, and I think I'm gonna have a beer while it's playing, and then I want to talk about it. It's just so much looser and so much more fun. I think everything else it all has its place, of course, and everything, but there's something really cool about
so far apart. Different kinds of experiences of a person, studious and
right.
Yeah, then usually, people not been to festivals, and like you said, usually then everyone gets together afterwards and either has a few drinks, but everyone's talking about the movies, and it's a good atmosphere, and it's also, I think, a good way to meet other filmmakers and see what they're doing, or maybe collaborate or maybe not, but
well, it's cool too, because like a lot of the people like have like are in the like the industry themselves, they had made films themselves, or they're a specialist in some way, so they can like really like appreciate like some of like the nuances and some of the things that were done, regardless of whether they like the movie or not. Like you can always like connect, like some work from others, and I think that's fun. If you look at it from there, it's like, wow, someone made that.
Yeah.
How important is
like
that?
My movie? I really like the color correcting. I'm sorry, Annabelle.
I was saying, how important is it for to have that ability as a filmmaker amongst your peers to be, not everybody's going to like this, and there's still something that I can take from my experience when people do see things that maybe they don't. I think it's great, but there's going to be different people see different things, are going to like different things, appreciate different things. So not just for yourself, but overall as an indie film community, that openness to hear when someone has a constructive criticism to make.
Yeah, for me, it's very helpful, because I completely come from the side of, I know I'm never gonna make something that everybody likes. It's like impossible, and that's totally fine and great, and it's just the nature of what we do. I think the thing that really kind of comes through is when you see, do people react in the way that you intended them to react, or what you intended for that to be. I think is like a great learning experience, because if they do, you're like, okay, like we did that right. But also sometimes you're like, well, they didn't, and it wasn't just this group, it was the next group didn't either, right? And so we're like, okay, maybe we didn't hit that the way we thought, the way we intended to. So, and then you have to look at the why, like why didn't hit, right? Was it the writing? Was it the look? Was it the timing in the movie where it was, or, another thing that's very, it's crazy. Like when you're talking to folks afterwards, and it's very helpful, like the questions that they ask, particularly when it comes to like story, and they're like, well, why did so-and-so do XYZ? And you're like, oh, well, crap, I thought we explained that really well, but maybe we didn't, maybe we didn't, maybe we should have took more time or did it in a different way, to kind of like explain that. So I think all of those conversations, even when it's just rapping about the film, I think are great learning tools for you.
So, you yourself then make the horror movies, but you also do documentaries.
Yeah. Me personally, I need like the variety to, like keep like interest. I don't know if it's like the ADD, whatever, but like you do something for a while, like, God, I need to, do this for a little bit, and then I get tired of this. Now I need to do this again. So that's like kind of like the reason. And a lot of times too, it's like the variety of like the real world versus make believe. You know, like when you're in make believe for so long, like, okay, I just need to do some real world stuff. And then when you're doing real world stuff, you're like, I don't really like the real world.
I'm bored. That sucks.
So, I do have a question just about documentaries in general. In my opinion, it's always kind of a myth that people say that like a documentary is not supposed to necessarily have a point of view. It's like, I think all documentaries really have a point of view because you've got to edit it a certain way. And I do see it another form of storytelling.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Do you agree with that? Like a documentary really does take a side. I think. I don't think
there's some, you know, a truth to that, right? And maybe that, you know, like maybe that side is only, you know, like the part that, you know, you had access to, right? You know, like you hear all the time, like, oh, this side had no comment. It's like, well, if you don't have a comment, then there's no one's going to have that. They're going to have your side.
Manufacture.
Right? Only going to have the information that they have, and they're going to, you know, communicate that information. You know, so, and you know, documentaries are heavily edited, right? You know, like there's so much content that is captured in a documentary, like hundreds of hours, and then the finished piece is like 90 minutes, right? So like, of course that information is curated. And a lot of the times it's curated to, you know, hit a finite goal, right? And that's the message. And then even if you don't think you are, I mean, I think sometimes you subconsciously could have a side, you know? So like I agree with that.
Yeah. Like King of Kong, it's like one of my favorite documentaries, but it's clear now. I think maybe one guy really is more the villain than the hero, but it's clearly edited one way where one guy is the hero, one guy's the villain.
Right. And a lot of times too, like there's, you know, also the same story principles that would be in a script.
Yeah, like King of Kong definitely plays like a fictional movie or a narrative, I would say.
Yeah. Here's the protagonist. Here's the antagonist. Here's the
it's a classic underdog story.
Yeah.
Which I knew there was talks to make that into a narrative, which I really think would work, but it's never happened.
What do you think about that line between a documentary, the effort is truly to capture what's actually happening versus putting a spin on it? Is there a point where it's no longer a documentary?
That's a great question. And I think so. Yeah. I think if you're like manufacturing a story, you know, even if it's just like a one camera thing, like, you know, documentary style ENG shoot, it's not a documentary. You're not documenting. You're crafting like a story. And so I think that would be, you know, as a director of those, I always kind of like ask myself, like, am I when I ask a question, am I trying to pivot them to answer in a way that serves like a certain message that I want? And if the answer is yes, then probably don't ask that question, right? Like, because now I'm, you know, kind of carving what you're saying, you know, and that wouldn't be I think that's where the line is.
Yeah. It kind of makes me think of reality TV.
Yeah.
Is it really reality? I mean, we're looking into the lives of these people, but
if you know there's a camera on you, how you know how real can you actually act? You know what I
mean? Right. Yeah. No, and you can usually tell just by you know, at least for me, like the raw you know, like emotion that you get with people, even if it's like, you know, them questioning or, you know, them being angry, or maybe they don't have an answer like that. To me, I'm like, okay, that was a real answer. But when it's just so perfect, you know, and it's so like, you know, tight, you know, in terms of like what the vocabulary is that they're using, I'm like, no one talks that perfect, right? Like there's a lot of, you know, weird stuff that people say that, you know, it's just not perfect, you know, and so I think there's a thing of being too perfect in how those things are put together.
Do you have any favorite documentaries you think people should check out?
Documentaries. Well, it's funny because I'm kind of like bridging, you know, like fiction and like nonfiction. I've been like really into like alien and like ancient civilization documentaries, like recently.
Like, oh, so like the theory, like they build the pyramids kind of thing?
Yes, yes. And whether it's crazy or not, to me it's still a great story. To me it's still entertaining. So it's pretty cool. So right now there's actually a documentary series out. It's called Ancient Apocalypse. You guys ever heard about that one?
No.
Okay.
It's on the History Channel.
It is, yes. And it's all about, like theories about how there was like this ancient civilization on Earth that was much, much older than even like the Egyptians and Mesopotamians and all that, right? Like it goes back way further. All that information was lost over time, and basically like humanity kind of had to like start over again after the Ice Age. Like that's his theory. Okay. And so like he goes around the world to like different sites where trying to prove this theory, and it's done with very modern documentary kind of types, a lot of drone work, a lot of like fact finding kind of stuff. But to me the story is just fascinating. It was like I want to write a script about like this ancient civilization. What do we know about that? So like so it kind of bridges that, right? It's kind of like he does it in the most I think sincere way. But at the same time, you're like, you're telling a great story, though.
Yeah, because I'm thinking about, we were talking about documentary. What's the line? Because I'm thinking about it. It's like, it's kind of like a hypothesis.
Yeah, yeah.
Like this, I have these ideas, but are they really real? Is this the 100%? I can guarantee you this is the truth, or is it I'm presenting this to you to be on this journey with me to consider the hypothesis of what's going on.
And that's a lot of the times, like at least on this one that we're talking about, in even other documentaries, like when you pose the question, you don't give the answer, but you pose a question of like, is this possible? Right? I'm not saying it is, I'm not saying it's not, but is it plausible? You make up your own mind, And to me, like right now, I find that very entertaining. That's the kind of stuff I like to watch, because then it gets you thinking. Even after you watch it, you're like, well, wait a minute, that does seem like that could happen. Like
Maybes. The slippery slope of maybe.
Right, maybe the Earth is flat.
Right.
There are people I mean, maybe it is true. Lizard people are in the center of the Earth.
Yeah.
We'll get out of that world, but I find that stuff entertaining too. I was gonna say I used to really find all that stuff really entertaining until people believe some really crazy stuff. Then I was like, I don't know if this is entertaining anymore. But
right.
So, would you ever revisit the world of Replicator?
I would, absolutely. Yeah. I think it's cool, and that's kind of we kind of like set it up. That like it doesn't have like a real finite, like this is the end of our world ending. And that was done, somewhat intentionally, to kind of see like, let's open up this world and see like, what else. And our story is very like contained in this small town, right? So it can be like, okay, what's outside of this small town? And so yeah. I would love to, kind of continue on the quest of what all this stuff is.
There's no pressure of there being a sequel, but it's just this perhaps,
yeah, maybe there is.
Yeah. Do you have an idea where that would go, or?
If that was to happen, like I think it would have to be with another protagonist in a different location, so you can kind of see the spread of this. And I think we would absolutely have to like answer a lot more historical questions of where does our evil come from, right? Like we never really and we did that somewhat purposefully in this, because it was just a lot of story that I didn't think we could really get to, with the time that we had. So like that would be answered in the next one. I don't think it would be a prequel by any means, but it would be something that would explain more about where all this comes from and how it got here.
I like this idea of having something set up so that it's like chapters of a larger story.
Yeah.
Like if you're reading a really incredible book and you're like, this is a great chapter. It could be a standalone thing, but then to have what comes after that and kind of building to this idea of like, this is an amazing, complete picture. Like I'm just thinking Stephen King book. If I start reading a book and it's like Gunslinger, Dark Tower Part 1, that's its own book. And then every step of the way, you're just getting more of that mythology to it and the legends. So I think that would be great.
Yeah,
if possible, it would be cool.
Yeah. I think it'd be even cool to kind of like explore the the way that the replicators in the film like interpret their new world, right? Maybe they're not all, super nice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like what else, what's going on in current, like, and this is what gets like serving audience, like what's going on in the current world, that like what personality traits, what, kind of like dialogue is being used that might be a great inspiration for what these new, replicators are being turned into to match, to echo the world that we're living in, to make it feel more, crap, my neighbor talks like that. Maybe,
Interesting.
Yeah,
I love it.
like that. So we want people to see Replicator, but what are you going to be working on next? Are you going to do another? Are you going to go like back to documentaries? Are you going to make another horror movie?
Well, actually, we're just finishing a documentary now that'll be out at the beginning of next year, probably around like Marchish, and it's technically done. So now we're getting into like the sales distribution side of it. So basically what that means is like we finished Replicator. We've already went through like the documentary stuff. So we're ready to go back to, a scripted horror again.
Yeah.
Right. So like the next thing up is, all right, let's start thinking about what this next narrative scripted horror is going to be.
Yeah.
So
what's the documentary, or I don't know if you can talk about it at all.
I can't talk about it too much, but it actually takes place in Montana. Like it, and I've never been to Montana before we started shooting this. All I knew was like Yellowstone. Like if you guys ever saw the show Yellowstone, I just imagined that's what the whole world is. But we actually did some filming on the ranch where they shoot Yellowstone, which was pretty cool. It's like a real working ranch, but it kind of has a very like Americana feel, and it's it has some, again, serious content matter about the legal system and stuff like that, right? So that's pretty much what I can say about that right now. But yeah, that comes out and we'll start marketing that more in the beginning of 25. But creatively, we're thinking about the next horror film to kind of get into the queue, because we're all excited about it again.
Yeah.
I wonder if you would ever be able to, in this world, have a faux documentary about replicators.
Yeah. Or like they actually talk and give, like you're talking earlier, like, if we don't hear like both perspectives, like, do you really know what it is, like, because you're not like taking it aside, like there'd be like a faux documentary. You talk to the replicators, like, look, we're doing great stuff for the community.
That would be amazing.
We're volunteering.
I love it.
Yeah.
No, I'm into it.
Yeah.
And where can people follow you to see what you're up to?
Crash Cat Media Group is our company, right? So like Instagram is like the best, like we're probably like on that like the most out of all the socials. So yeah, Crash Cat Media Group is our handle, and we do interact with it like a lot. We do answer like a lot of folks, and we do try to like communicate, and like I said, that's how we found our artist for Replicator poster. So we kind of use that platform, and then our website, crashcatmedia.com is a good place to find us. And then if you want to look at all the other stuff that Cranked Up is doing, Cranked Up TV, and they have a new platform for that, which is really cool, where they're putting all of their lineup of films, in a like their own streaming service, right? And so that just came out. So yeah, you can check up Cranked Up Films, and see all the great stuff that they're doing.
Cool. Right. Yeah. How will people be able to find this film?
Replicator.
Yeah. So right now it's on most places where it's like rent, or buy. At least this phase of it. So like Amazon, Apple, Fandango, Cranked Up TV, is another one. And really any smart TV you have, just search Replicator, and then it'll give you like the platform. And, I think you'll know the poster.
Yeah.
Like when you see the artwork.
You'll be like, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's the one.
Very cool. Well, this was fun, and we'd love to have you back sometime. When the next horror movie's rolling around or whatever.
Yeah. No, this is fantastic. I love chatting with you guys, and
thank you so much.
And people check out Replicator.
Yeah, do it.
Really cool movie.
I think everyone will enjoy it.
Yeah, I agreed. It's great effects, fun characters. I dug it. Cool colors. So,
yeah.
I like them their colors, but no. As soon as I said it, that sounds really stupid.
Well,
it does have a.
Thank you. Like that's the kind of stuff we're talking about. When people can appreciate that, you're like, well, thank you for saying because people worked on that.
Yeah, no, it does have cool colors. But yeah. All right. Well, thank you, man.
Great to meet you, Mark.
Yeah.
Take care, Mark. Thank you so much.
See you.
Bye. So that was cool, Replicator.
It was very cool.
Yeah. Were you happy that I was able to remove them without
well played.
Yeah, without being worried that I would remove Mark from the
conversation. I was going to say something about it. That's why I was like, wow.
That's what I thought. You're very impressed.
Space. I wasn't.
I usually feel very rude, and then I'm self-conscious. I'm like,
no, because then you just seem ruder. By dangling them around. So you did a great job, Neal. That was excellent, and I am proud of you. You get the sticker.
You got them in like the Phantom Zone right now or something.
2 people knew what this hat was. Normally, some people say it's cool, but they have no idea what it is. I tell them it's Krampus, and every once in a while they know who that is, but not always. But there was an older woman at the Dollar Tree. She was probably like, I'd say 70. And she's like, is that a Krampus hat? And I said, yes, it is a Krampus hat.
Amazing.
Like, this woman rules.
Adopt her.
Exactly.
Right, she's already awesome.
And then the new girl at Duncan's, where am I? Knew it too. She knew. She's like, is that a crocheted Krampus hat? I was like, yes.
Wow. How old is this person?
Probably, I would say I would say between mid-30s and early 40s.
Okay. So now you just need a young one.
Yeah.
Right.
You're getting
and then a baby.
Going, hey.
Be good.
The same new girl at Duncan's. She was like, Neal. So it was me, Andrew, and her there. And she's like, do you know The Who? Have you ever heard The Who? And I'm like, yeah, I know who The Who is. And she's like, you know the Mongolian. I was like, what? She's like, The Who. It's HU, not The Who. And I was like, no, I don't know The Who. And so she came. I was like,
yes.
on the phone, and she put in The Who.
The Who's good.
I was like, oh wow, this is pretty wild.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Used to do security for them. So anyway, she's very cool and very weird. So I gave her our brigade flyer and Without Your Head flyer. So maybe she's watching.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah. I like weird
opportunities around every corner.
Yeah, fellow weirdos are good.
Absolutely. So here we are.
Here we are.
Do you have perhaps any other trailers for us to take a 4 more minute break?
got a bunch of trailers here. Let me play. Let's see. Let me grab one here. We played Replicator earlier, which is very cool. We played no, we didn't play El Dorado. We played. Here's one called Torture Day, and this is made by a director that will be that made Klaus, the Devil's Primate, which will be showing soon on a Saturday Night Fright. And this is his upcoming film, Torture Day.
Death is the ultimate shared human experience, right? The great cosmic inevitability. And if we can try to resist inevitability, then we could all end up going crazy and killing each other. Thank you.
Wouldn't want that, now would we?
This was supposed to be a therapeutic weekend. This was supposed to be something that we could control. We are in a kill or be killed situation.
Something happened here, and we have to make sure it doesn't happen to anyone else. Namely us.
Go and piss the wrong guy off in the woods, and you are done for, man.
Valerie thinks anything where people die is cool.
That's because dying is cool.
I'm Tim Dry, and I'm coming to you from London in the United Kingdom. Just a little bit about myself, just enough to whet your appetite. I played 2 character roles in Return of the Jedi. One was Jay Quill, a bad boy. One was a Mon Calamari officer. Anyway, I also played the title role in Extra. The point of this little video is to say that A, I have known Neal, Annabelle and Troy for many years now, but I am enormously excited to be a tiny part of their upcoming debut feature, Arbor Day. And I will be providing
the voice of the demon tree. Do you think you're ready to handle this?
Anyway, stay tuned for more info. It's gonna be monstrous.
Ciao for now.
He's crazy.
Tim Dry's the man.
He's more than a little part.
Oh, I know. He's a big, very big part.
Yeah. I don't know if he knows what a big deal he is.
Mm.
You know what? I wish when I see him do his credits, it's all cool, but the thing I saw him in that I loved most was Son of Nosferatu.
Oh, yeah. No, that's a great one. Yeah, I love his music. He's a very talented guy all around.
Son of Nosferatu, though. He's great.
I had my first
he's funny as hell.
Black Sausage with
what?
Black Pudding with Tim Dry.
Why?
In London. I was like, I got the full. He was the same way. He's not a fan, and he kind of warned me not to get it, but I was not a big fan.
Yeah, well, I'm glad he could admit.
Yeah,
that it's
he did the time before suggested Bangers and Mash, which was good. I did like that. Yeah.
Man, that's awesome. 100%. Yep.
I hear the show in the background. I think maybe Troy is playing it.
Oh, perhaps. Oh, it's
Oh,
Troy.
no, I think he's talking to me. He probably doesn't know that we can hear him, so I'll just mute him.
Probably not.
But yeah,
I'm
he's
kind of
talking.
curious though.
Yeah.
What's going on in the Troy household?
Yeah, him
Probably
and Dia.
scolding dogs.
Yeah, they got. Oh, there he is. I'll unmute. Oh, I think you're unmuted, right? Yeah.
I had to get the paintbrush away from Maru because
Oh,
his teeny front teeth and just start to pluck the bristles out. I blame myself. It's when I taught him how to tear the paper that day.
Yeah.
He's
So
like,
I
"Hey,
don't know, tear paper. Whoa, the paper that I have?
Yep.
Oh.
That's an official Maru teeny front teeth paper.
That's awesome.
Doesn't use the big fangs. He's just very dainty Maru.
So after the holidays, we're gonna start getting back together with our meetings and get stuff ironed out for Arbor Day. It's gonna be good
doing
time.
the script. I'll harass you about that more and more as time passes.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes.
That's
So
fun.
who's on the team now? Wait a minute. Before I do that, wasn't that Annabelle Rich in that trailer?
Yes.
Where's her name? I was like, I know that's Annabella Rich, but they'll have her name up, so for sure I'll definitely know. She should be.
She's got her own movie coming out. We were gonna have her on, but you gotta work it out time wise. But I'm a big fan of her. She's super nice. I met her at the last time in London too. Super nice person.
Yep. I don't think I met her. Maybe in a Severed Limbs event.
Oh yeah, she was probably in the chat and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's been in a lot of the Q&As, but we never had a regular interview with her, so that would be cool.
Okay.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Very
I
cool.
like her a lot. The
Yeah.
Trash Arts people, good friends with them. And the last time we talked to them when it was a Q&A, and it's really cool to see how much they've grown over the last few years. So their first couple movies, like, they didn't really have they had a script, but it was more just ad lib. They had the idea, then they would let people do whatever. And their stuff's much more structured now, and it's much more professional. And I think they've been putting out some really good stuff.
Oh yeah.
It's great.
It's really nice to see. And it's nice to see a lot of the different Trash Arts people branching out and doing some other stuff, and then they bring people in, and they're good folks.
It's exciting to see when good people do well.
Yeah, Trista was in one of their recent movies. Trista's new movies just played some festival. Trista Robbins.
Oh, it's excellent.
Yeah,
I don't want to give out any names that I shouldn't name, but I know she had a big name person that she was maybe going to work with. Do you know if this is that movie? You would know who it is. It's not.
No.
All right.
No, this one was made by the Abinette Bradley couple that made her movie when we had her on originally. What's the name of it? It's the haunted house movie.
Oh, that one. Yes. Oh, I feel bad. I can't remember it.
I can't either. That's awful.
No.
Yeah, it's how I got to know her at all, because I saw the poster and I took a photo. Well, Jason took a photo of me kind of mimicking her in the poster, and then her and Brian saw it online, and then we started talking. It's kind of funny. But anyway, it just played, let's see here, Protos Experiment. It's a dystopian sci-fi horror film, and it played the Dead Lake Horror and Wine Festival.
Interesting.
Oh, that sounds good. I like
Yeah,
that.
what a combination. All right. It's very classy sounding.
Yeah.
As soon as I hear wine, I'm like, I don't know if I'm allowed. It's too classy for me.
Watch a horror movie, sip on some wine.
Yeah, I just imagine Napa Valley with a big screen outside, and people are just
A rump.
Exactly.
They only show elevated horror at the.
That's it.
Or,
That's when they get the brandy snifters out and they're like,
Exactly.
rump.
And the cigar.
Yep.
That's a great image.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw these images the other day.
Yeah.
They're excellent.
Mm-hmm.
It's very cool. Whoops.
Yeah. And the whole description there of what is it? Horror, sci-fi.
Yeah, dystopian.
Stuff. Dystopian. That's a big one for me. Lovecraftian, dystopian. If it's one of those, I'm probably gonna like it. Elevated horror noodle. Oh, elevated horror. No. If my
I hate that term.
tab was a little off the screen, I'm like, elevated horror noodle. Maybe that can be a thing.
Yes, that would be a good. So
shitty horror.
Yeah, you're running a festival. You got like a ramen dish, and like what do we call it? We call it the elevated horror noodle.
Yep.
Oh, I like it. All right, I dig it.
Yeah,
I'm down. But it's got to have the cool bowl where you slide the chopsticks through. So you know
that would be technically
those are my favorite.
It would be.
I saw some good ones at Marshall's. Man, you dig them.
Yep.
Maybe if we go see Nosferatu.
Oh my goodness!
In Boston, we'll have to get some pho.
You have to do that. Have to do that.
I just want to get there when they still have the Compton popcorn box. I
know that rules
in my life.
Oh my lord! Do you have any of these popcorn?
I have the Groot one from Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which is really, really cool. I kicked myself for not getting the 20-sided die, but I think at the time it was only available on eBay because all the kids at work at AMC bought every one of them before the movie even showed.
It's so wrong. It's like Ticketmaster tickets.
And they didn't have any left when we saw the Ride of the Rohirrim, but they had a really sweet popcorn holder, which was a big war hammer from one of the dwarves, and you opened up the hammer part, and they filled it with popcorn.
It's crazy.
But of course, they were all gone by the time we got there.
See, more people are going to the theaters now because of the damn popcorn buckets.
Exactly.
Just AMC to get the popcorn bucket.
Yep. That was
which the Alien one was awesome too from this year.
That's right. Like the head comes up, right?
Well, the AMC one I think was more. It had the face hugger inside the bowl itself.
Oh my god!
It looked so cool.
Jeez.
Last time
I haven't get them at the theater. You have to pay like $100 on eBay to get them.
Yeah. I haven't been to the theater for a while. But last time I went, the AMC in Boston, like they sell a lot of stuff besides that now, which is kind of cool. They had a lot of tiki mugs, which I like the tiki mugs. There's some behind me.
Mm-hmm.
They had a Godzilla -1 one, which
no, cool. That would have been badass.
Oh, I see the. I'm looking up this popcorn bucket. Oh
yeah,
my
did you see the one with the Warhammer?
On the Nosferatu one, I saw.
Yeah, that one looks really cool too.
I was trying to see the. Wow.
If you're one of the first 10 people in line, you might be able to buy that. That's about it.
Man. But you don't have to go see that movie, right? You could see any movie technically
as long as you're there that day. Yeah.
They sell out like the first day, and Nosferatu opens on Christmas Day,
which is pretty awesome. Yeah,
it's really
and I think the Dylan movie is Christmas Day as well.
Oh, really? I think that looks good, but I mean, I'm gonna go see Nosferatu, but I would see both. Honestly.
Yeah.
So I've seen some friends.
Christmas Day.
Christmas Day.
Are you going on Christmas Day?
No, probably not. But I'm just saying, we'll probably go that weekend. I would think. I don't know whenever, but.
Yeah. Well, why don't we make a plan for that? We'll go. I know I've got my situations and such, but why don't we plan on meeting?
We could go Saturday or Sunday. It'd probably be best.
When are we going to go out to a game at the pinball place?
Ooh.
That's what I want.
We're going to have to figure out a good day.
Especially
now that the Evil Dead pinball machine is out.
Yeah, it looks pretty rocking.
Is it there already?
I don't know. I got to look it up. I'm not sure.
Yeah, they list the games that are there.
Yeah, which is one of the coolest things about free play.
I was emailed early, actually. That Frankie, remember that game, that movie we talked about, where it's like the puppets and it's made by one of the guys who made The Void.
Oh yeah,
Frankie Frico.
Yeah.
They emailed earlier today, Raven Banner, which are cool folks. Frankie Frico, the retro 3D side scroll. It's very much like very much like stuff that I would make, like the sprites.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
sweet.
So I emailed them back to see if we could do something about it on the show. So we'll see.
And that's a legit game?
Yeah, they made the actual game.
Oh my god. It brought me, there's so many different games that do that.
It's kind of like looks kind of like Metroid on it.
I was literally going to say Metroid.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Metroid, Super Metroid.
Yeah, I love both, but Super Metroid might be my favorite game ever. I think it's great.
Yeah, that's a great game.
That one, actually, Super Metroid, when you get to the end, and so how you save Super Metroid, it'd be at a certain level. So once I beat the game, you could keep, every time you'd play it again, you could play just that last part where you fight the what is it, the mother brain or whatever, and escape. And so I did it a lot of times because it was so fun, and you actually felt like you were not scared, but you could feel like panic and stuff, because after you destroy it, then the whole world starts to blow up and you have to run, you have to escape.
It's got that sound, like it's like boo boo.
It has the countdown. It was that game.
It's a great soundtrack on it too.
Yeah. Yeah, and so the first
I actually have on as one of my ringtones. I have 2 ringtones from Super Metroid.
The first Metroid, that was one of the first games you could save. That in Kid Icarus.
Interesting. I did not know that. It's
a
pretty important function to have.
Yeah, I was actually telling Andrew this the other day, because he was playing some game, and I was like, when I was a kid, not all games you could save, and I had friends who would leave their Nintendo on like for days, like you'd go to school and leave it on because you didn't want to lose your place in the game. It is kind of weird to think about now that you could just like.
When was that? Like Mario, you could save, couldn't you? Could you not?
No.
Wow. Oh. Dang.
Nope, couldn't save Mario. The first, it was they even had a specific, because they had the different series. They had like the gun. They had Robbie the Robot, and I don't know what they were called. Like but they were the first ones you could save, and it was Kid Icarus and Metroid.
Wow, I never played Kid Icarus.
That was a fun game. That was some crazy stuff.
It's weird now though if I think about it, because the big it was the Eggplant Wizard, and now the Eggplant means a different thing. So like kids, if they play it now, they're like, whoa.
Oh, the Eggplant Wizard,
the Ding Dong Wizard here.
I'm sure that's what the kids of today are saying. The Ding Dong.
Yeah, Ding Dong's a big term with the young people out there.
Yep. Right on Urban Dictionary.
Yeah.
I actually I can't say on the show. I'll tell you guys off air, but I have a phrase that Andrew texts me. And it's we can't use it on the show, but
nope.
He wants me to put it for the script.
Is it what does it mean?
It's got
you can't just do that to the audience.
It's got
the audience wants to know more than I do.
It's got the R word in it, and so I can't use it here on the show.
And he wants it in the movie?
Here
at wise?
It's a whole story behind this. There's a whole story behind
Here at the Jones Burgess compound.
I'll tell the story, and
the R word is runt, but
I'll tell you. Want me to tell you this?
That.
I'll tell you the story here. So I'm in the coffee shop, and Andrew's like, Neal, do you use the R word? And I was like, well, when I was a kid, we used it a lot, but we didn't. It's like if someone's acting dumb or whatever, you say you're the R word, But I don't use it today. And then he goes, well, but what if someone's acting like and he said the R, and I was like, Andrew, you can't be saying this. And he's like, well, there was a kid, or he said a guy, I think, that was pretending to screw the doorknob. And I was like, don't act like, and he said R word. And I was like, Andrew. I was like, don't kink shame the man. And then he goes to his buddies working there, and he's like, Abdul, Neal told me not to kink shame the R word. And I was like, oh my God. And so now we have
in the movie.
Now we have the running joke that we text each other to put that don't kink shame the R word in the script.
Wow.
And he's this very nice, innocent young kid saying this,
kid,
which
yeah.
really adds to
Do you have a picture of him to share with everybody? I don't know if it's one real easy to access, but he just puts out this innocence. I don't know. Is he as innocent as I think?
He's
Maybe
probably
he's
got
not.
bodies buried in the backyard. Because, he just looks so sweet and innocent that he can get away with it.
He's having these very meaning of life conversations with Neal.
Yeah, so then it's
figuring out the boundaries of the world.
He's a neat kid, I gotta say. I really like him.
I can't
really
wait
like
to meet him. Yeah.
Yeah, and his so then his new buddy at the works there, like he used he called the coffee filters coffee liners, and Andrew's like, oh, they're coffee filters, but I know English is your second language, and he was like, actually, it's my third language, and I was like, oh, you speak 3 languages? He said, well, I actually speak 6. I was like,
wow.
And so then he started saying all these phrases in all 6 languages. And he's like 17, I think. I was like, oh my God.
So this guy's a genius.
Yeah, yes.
Or he's just making things up and telling you.
True, like
well, that's what Andrew said. He
question
said you
him
could
on
just be using gibberish.
Mm-hmm.
He's just expected nobody there like knows Mandarin Chinese, so he could just
it was Hindi, and so then I was like, oh, do you watch Bollywood movies? And he's like, not anymore. When I was a kid, he's only 17 now.
That's funny. I'll tell Brian he's no longer our linguist then. 3 languages ain't shit compared to 6.
He's got nothing.
Yeah, 6. Andrew's been learning German too. So he gave me I don't remember the app, but he's been learning off a free app to speak German. I was like, I need to get this app. I need to speak.
Yeah, you and Brian
German.
can go off somewhere and speak German, and I'll be like, I don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Exactly. It'll be the secret language. Anyway, it's a good time. Where with the? Oh, I was trying to find a picture of me. I couldn't find one offhand. Oh, here we go. All right. Don't kink shame the R word. Well, I don't think it'll make the movie, but it does make me laugh. Maybe a different movie. But here we go.
Oh, that boy.
Just want to pinch his cheek.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's gonna one of the
did
main
the best Fay Ray pose when we were taking photos that day.
Yeah. He is
just
not a fan
there's
of
some
the new
huge thing
picture.
coming at you. He's like, okay. Fay Ray down, man.
Oh, he takes direction the best.
He does.
Nothing against you, Troy.
I think Brian is our well, he tries. Brian is not a natural actor, I gotta say.
No, but honestly, so doing the that's why I like the idea of, since no one in the movie besides none of the 4 of the main group with Steve none of the actors have been in a movie. I've been in a movie. I'm not saying I'm a seasoned actor and stuff. So I like the idea of doing. It's going to be a short that we could shoot in a day, maybe 2 for just a different scene. That's like a add in shot, but very quick. That can we edit quick, play it, severed limbs, or think is fun. But my primary goal with that is, I think if all of us get comfortable in our character and we have a nice chemistry together, that's going to help when we film Arbor Day.
Don't tell Neal, but my character is me, so I think I'm safe.
It is. Well, they've all been written to how I see people in my mind. So. Although Brian's character is really nothing like him, but it's kind of his acting style really kind of shaped how I wrote the character. All right. So now so here's the severed limbs. So last week I showed some. I'll show them again real quick here.
They were pretty
Annabelle was
wild.
not here last week. Decoration.
Oh.
Adriana finds a small Halloween-style carved pumpkin on her way home and decides to take it with her. Something mysterious seems to accompany the discovery.
It's so cute. I don't blame her. It's adorable. If I saw it, I'd probably take it home.
I'd need it to.
Yeah.
0-0. A young woman enjoys her afternoon at a park when suddenly a thief takes her purse and runs away. Something inside the purse is deeply attached to her.
I'm really curious about this image.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to clearly like that means something.
Yeah, I think it has.
I don't understand.
Yeah, it's almost like, to me, it's like either like if you're looking through a telescope or a lens of a gun, or you're looking through like a peephole, like on a door.
With that little red dot, like, on the eye, maybe so.
Yeah, it could be a gun.
Mm-hmm.
The swirl. Oh, yeah. Bring it back for a second. It is an eye.
Mm-hmm.
It's an eyeball.
Yep. But that little red dot in the center.
Oh, see, I didn't even see the eyeball. I was just seeing a swirl, like you have Japanese or an Asian brushstroke. That there is a brushstroke that's like that. That's very interesting.
By the way, that was our guest last week there, Dreams Grape, in the chat. Yeah, and they have the link out now. I'm gonna put it on the website to buy a voucher for Round the Decay.
Oh,
awesome!
Cool.
So you get the voucher,
and it's good. He said it like any theater,
any place that's showing it. So it's really cool. So it's $15.
Yeah.
And there's some kind of incentives, I believe, and you can use it at any theater. And the idea is the more people who get it, the more theaters they'll be able to play.
Oh, that's a great idea.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad he did that.
Yes, please buy them. Well, I should have known by the name Dreamscape, but also the elevated horror. No! And I imagine him saying it like Control 2.
Yeah.
Let's see here. The Legend of... that's not the right one. Oh, I'm sorry. The Legend of Sayer Hicks. Some legends are simply stories made up to scare the kids around the campfire. They are passed down through the generations, but some are more than stories. Some legends are very, very real.
Who made that?
That is Dean Midas.
It is. Okay. All right. I thought it was Dean.
Number 9. This is a monster. Trapped in the shadows of fear, but now the tables have turned. This time it's her turn to make the rules.
Mm-hmm.
Monster. Der Metzgermeister. A dinner for two you'll never forget. Quick and to the point there.
Mm-hmm. You pronounce that okay? You're native German.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I haven't even started the app yet.
I know. You're ready.
Mm-hmm.
Der Metzgermeister. No, I just it up. Just trying to add some. The Veil.
I like
That's
that.
Nice, really nice poster. Yeah,
it's very classy. That could be at the Wine Horror Festival.
Yeah,
exactly. There's no description to this one.
There doesn't need to be when it's in the elevated wine horror. That's
true. This is new for this week. Apples Against Humanity.
Oh, I'm very curious.
I like the logo a lot.
That card game. Just played it the other day.
The drive for the freshest apple leaves a dinner party in ruin.
Interesting. All right.
School's out.
Oh.
School's out for summer. A lone school this is about Troy. A lone school custodian begins his routine tasks in a nightmarish maze of hallways and classrooms.
Nice.
As he sweeps, he witnesses unsettling supernatural phenomena. Eerie, empty classrooms, devoid of desks, flickering lights, and slamming lockers. Forces intensify in this just over 3-minute solo shot on an iPhone 14 video by Warren Dean Fulton.
Oh,
what do you think
I'm
about
definitely
that,
down
Troy?
with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, and he said custodian. No janitor talk here. So
there you go.
There's a man that might be in the biz, I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm. Aw.
By the way, Melody missed you last week. And she said that she loves watching the show and that we have great chemistry together.
Oh.
And she would love to work with us.
Ooh. Yeah, last week.
Departure.
Oh, I dig the poster.
We are going on a vacation retreat. Victoria is confronted by her past.
Cool.
There we go. And then there's also some trailers that have been accepted. So we got 14 so far. It's
excellent.
A few weeks away. So the this week I thought ahead, and so I think it's the first or second week is the final week you can submit a film. So it gives me 2 whole weeks to put everything together.
Nice.
Instead of a few days, which is a real hassle. So
yes.
This will work out much better. But your time's running out. So submit your film. It's free.
Oh.
Free to submit. That sounds weird. Free to submit.
Feel
free to submit your film. Yeah.
I sent you an image. I don't know if do you have news?
Not a lot of news.
I don't know if you watched the show. Saturday morning cartoon from
I'm gonna go grab it. I'm not getting anything from you.
Not the groovy
Facebook?
Is it?
It's
hold on. Yeah, I'm getting this for anyone on Facebook. Every once in a while I have to put in a code and stuff.
Oh, I do that. It sucks. Wicked bad. Authenticator app and all this.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's protecting us. However, I have now had 2 different languages happen on my Facebook without me doing it. The first time was French. No, first time was Italian, and then just stuff like all the headings for things like I'm looking at the Without Your Head horror group off to the page.
And it's all in Italiano. That's awesome.
Featured would have been, and I didn't choose it. So if I went into the language settings, it said English. Look at that.
Oh my goodness.
New Ghostbusters animated movie and animated series in the works. This is from today. The story from John Squires, the bloody, disgusting guy who has snubbed my friend request, who hates me. I don't know why. It's something I just have to live with. So his article, which I do like his articles, says the future of the live-action Ghostbusters franchise is uncertain in the wake of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, but the saga is gearing up for a big-time return to the world of animation. In addition to a previously announced animated series in the works at Netflix, Deadline reports that Sony and Netflix are also working together on an animated Ghostbusters movie. The outlet details in today's report, insiders add that the project is still in early development, but that Chris Pern of Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2 is attached to direct. Deadline also notes, not only does the project mean to expand on the Ghostbusters universe, sources close to the development of this film see this as something that could do for the IP what the Beyond the Spider-Verse films have done for Spider-Man. Plot details for the Ghostbusters animated movie and series are under wraps. For the series, Elliot Collin, has boarded the project as writer, showrunner, and executive producer. Jason Reitman of Ghostbusters Afterlife will produce for Sony Pictures Animation. The Ghostbusters franchise has, of course, made a mark on the world of animation in the past with the real Ghostbusters in the 1980s and Extreme Ghostbusters in the 1990s. Well, what do we think about an animated Ghostbusters universe?
Well, I mean, we already have new Ghostbusters. I don't know if they're really setting the world afire. Do we need an animated universe too?
Maybe. I think that's the whole point of the article, is that the movies aren't cutting it. So maybe we need to open things up by not having those.
That's probably a better way to bring back the favorite characters, because, you can bring them back as voices.
Mm-hmm. I don't understand why Egon in this Ghostbusters has blonde hair. I mean, I guess at the same time, I don't know why Ray has red hair.
Maybe just to set them all apart.
Maybe. I mean, they look pretty different.
Yeah, they don't really look much like any of the people.
No. But I did enjoy that cartoon. I was a fan. You can put it away,
I don't think I ever watched it.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa, Dreamscape!
The guy
dropping some pretty heavy words over here.
Wow. I agree. Actually. Oh man, yeah. Troy's not a fan of any Ghostbusters.
Wow.
I was not a fan of these new ones. So
No Ghostbusters at all for Troy.
Anything with more than 30 minutes of Bill Murray, I just can't watch.
Wow.
For me, he's like truffle oil. You just, a little bit is good, but too much, just no good. No bueno.
There. Dreamscape is, yeah.
Team Troy.
But then we also differ on certain things too. Like he does not. He's on with you guys as far as
he's backing out though. He's not like the anti Bill Murray.
Oh, okay. But I like him. Like you give me Bill Murray in like the bowling movie.
The bowling movie.
What the hell is it called?
Oh, Kingpins.
In Kingpin, that's perfect. There's about 10 minutes of Bill Murray, and it's chef's kiss. More than that,
not for you.
I'm a little suspect because I think it's because I saw Meatballs, and God, that's an annoying fucking movie.
Yeah, it's
even like a 14-year-old Troy was like, "Wow, this movie sucks."
What about Porky's?
Yeah, it's about the same.
Revenge of the Nerds?
I liked it. It's tough to go back to it. Like, you get a little rapey vibe. And,
yeah, it's kind of creepy when you go back to that.
There is straight up rape in it.
Is there?
Well,
yeah, he pretends he goes and has sex with the one girl pretending to be her boyfriend.
Oh, God. Well...
but it's played for comedy.
Yeah. That was then.
Yeah.
Now it's a new day. And that's okay. Groundhog, I mean, it's a good question.
I'm not a big fan of Groundhog Day, actually.
What about Scrooged?
Oh, I hate that movie.
Yeah, I'm always maybe I'm with Troy and Bill Murray. Now I think about it, because I'm always kind of sad when people say it's the best version of A Christmas Carol, because I think it's one of the worst. I love Christmas Carol is one of my favorite stories, and I love every version of it pretty much. And I don't hate Scrooge, but I'm like, come on, it's not nearly as good as most versions of.
Well, maybe it's kind of like the idea of, oh, now I feel terrible. Kira, right? Kyla? Kyla.
Oh.
Which one? I feel terrible. I was confused. Our first guest.
Kayla. That's
Kayla.
Yep.
Kayla. what was I talking about? Kayla was saying how we're all into these horror Christmas movies is kind of like part of it is sort of like flip the bird to Christmas a little bit. So maybe for some people, it's not a horror movie, but is this kind of their whatever. They're different way of appreciating
Christmas Carol.
Christmas.
You get a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Anytime you see Grumpy Scrooge and,
Yeah.
I love
the original story is very, very scary. It's great.
Yeah.
I read the original story last Christmas. It was free on Audible. I was like, oh, wow, I really like this.
And I don't have a favorite. I think probably last year, who knows, picking out like what's your favorite version of A Christmas Carol.
I like the musical one actually, Scrooge. I believe it's called
Scrooge. We just watched last weekend.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
It's free on Hulu.
Really?
The black and white one's really great too. With
who's that? Alistair Sim.
Yeah,
I like Alistair Sim one. There's so many. There's another
one with
black
Patrick
and white
Stewart's
one.
a great one too.
Really.
Like we
Which
watch
one?
that every year. The Patrick Stewart one.
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah,
the
that one's
Mr.
so good.
Magoo is underrated.
Mr.
The Mr.
Magoo is
Magoo has the
fantastic.
saddest song I've ever heard in my life.
Yep.
It was the saddest song like.
I'd play it here, but we'd probably get
A
struck.
hand for each hand was planned in the world. Why don't my fingers reach? Millions of grains of sand in the world. Why such a lonely beach? Where is the keel that clicks to my clack? Where is the voice to answer mine back? I'm all alone in the world.
And that's a young
so
Ebenezer
sad.
singing
Like,
that as a little kid all alone.
I'm weeping inside when I'm singing that. Buddy.
I can hear you breaking up a little
Yeah,
bit.
you're
That was
right.
beautiful.
And that was
He's
not
left
like
at school all by himself. He doesn't get to go home with like his
Aw.
family.
So
and,
good.
and then it gives you like, oh, this is why he grows up to be this mean man. He's a lonely little boy.
My underrated one is the Muppets Christmas Carol.
Yeah, that
Michael
one's great
Caine
too.
as Scrooge, he's fucking great.
He is. He's amazing. Plays it straight as an arrow.
When I was a
And
kid, they used
I think the Ghost of Christmas Present in the
musical.
Albert Finney, in Scrooge.
Yes,
is my
he's great.
favorite all
Yeah.
time. He's just awesome.
Oh, that's
He
a like
sounds just like
giant, like
James
he's this
Mason.
enormous. He's just like, oh, yeah. A room full of food and everything.
Oh, his
Yeah.
feast just looks magnificent too.
Yep.
He's got like a suckling pig going over the fire
Yep.
and stuff. Like I just jump right in there with him on
Yep.
that one. That's when he's giving Scrooge the milk of human kindness. Good
He's
stuff.
kind of got a Tom Bombadil sort of vibe.
He does with James Mason's voice.
Yeah.
And like it's just awesome. At first I thought it was James Mason, but it wasn't.
No.
British actor who's in a lot of war movies. I don't think I've ever seen anything else with the guy, but he's so good in that.
Back on Team Troy.
Back
when
on
I was a
Troy with Muppet
when-
Christmas Carol.
when I was a kid, they used
by the way.
They used to cut out one of the songs on Scrooge. It's so at the end, Scrooge is dead, but he doesn't know it. You know, he's seeing Christmas yet to come, and so they all are dancing. You know, thank you very much, thank you very much. It's the nicest thing anyone's ever done for me. But they're singing and dancing on his casket.
It's
He's
the
dead.
best. Oh my god, it's the darkest humor like
Yeah.
you've ever seen. It's so great because he's there and he's dancing right along with them, you know, and he's just like, I never knew everyone loved me this much. You know?
Then he realizes he's dead, and they love it. And then he's presented with his own tombstone, and he's like, no. But they used to cut that out. I guess that, and when the Ghost of Christmas Present would open up his robe, and he had the two children, they would cut that out. But yeah, that's in the original book.
Yeah, Tom, the hot soup man, is dancing on his coffin. It's pretty awesome. And then it also has oh god, I can't think of the guy's name. His son was He's in the new James Bonds. He was also in, I think, the first episode of. Oh my God! Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, that guy. I'll never forget him.
That's a good one.
What's his face? I'll never forget him. But his dad's in it, and he was Veruca Salt's dad in.
Yeah, in the
Willy
original.
Wonka, yeah, yep.
The original.
And then he was also like the. I guess he was kind of their shield man, right hand man, gopher guy in the Three Musketeers in the 70s, which is pretty cool too.
I don't.
That one you've got to see, Annabelle, if you haven't, and you, Neal, if you haven't, in a while, because Oliver Reed is he's Athos in it, and
oh my God!
So you
sign
got
me
him
up.
and Lady de Winter. So you got not only the Three Musketeers, but they made the Four Musketeers.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy is their henchman, shield man guy in those too. And it's great because you got him, you have Richard Chamberlain, and
really,
and the guy that always plays kind of the goofy, he's kind of a man in the wrong place, kind of hayseed guy that he plays in every movie he's ever been in, whether it's Cabaret or The Island of Dr. Moreau from the 70s.
By the way,
yes.
By the way, I'm just about finished. I've been reading The Island of Dr. Moreau on Audible. It's fantastic. I know it's a classic book, but I was like, we're going to be having Richard Stanley on in the new year. I love watching the new movie. Honestly, when we saw it recently, I was like, oh, this is really good. I had built up my mind what a disaster was based off, the documentary and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then we watched. I was like, I really liked it. So I was like, you know what? I probably should listen to the audio book. And I love it. And there's I've actually been taking some notes about it because I don't know. It would be something I'd like to do. Maybe we could all watch all 3 movies at some point and do a show where we compare all the different films.
Oh, that sounds awesome. I'd love to do that.
So there's
Michael York was the guy whose name I couldn't remember.
Oh, Michael
York. There's certain things completely changed from the book, obviously. Some of them I didn't really understand why. But there's one element in the book that I don't think is in any of the movies. And it's very creepy. And so it's Dr. Moreau's talking about, making like the people the out of the beast.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also these little things that live in the underbush that he made, which I assume are like mice and stuff. They never really say what they are, but
is this a spoiler?
No, not really.
Not really, or no?
I don't think it shows up in any of the versions. It's been a long time since I've seen the.
Yeah, it's not in any of the movies. But there's this other thing. Then he goes, and then I made something else, and it's something he made in the past, and he talks about it. It doesn't have like arms, and they just they don't go into complete detail what it was. And it was like, talks about it like it was always in pain because it was like, and they had to kill it. And it was just like, why isn't this in any of the movies? Because it sounds it's horrific, and maybe it was hard to film. Maybe you could probably do it today, but definitely was probably too hard to because it's kind of like gives off the vibe. It's kind of a snake person. But it's also not a person. It's a thing that he had made.
Mm.
There's a lot in the book about pain. About pain. Pain's a big part of the book.
Back to the House of Pain.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
His is the house. Yeah.
I would stab stubborn beast flesh.
His is the House of Pain.
Mm.
His is the hand that makes. Ooh. His is the hand.
H.G. Wells never gets
that
enough
wounds.
credit.
His is the hand that heals.
Why do you like that line so much, Neal?
I think I like it. It's you got that he's all things to them. He's given them, he's created them, he's given them life. But he's the one that could see if he hurts them, obviously, but he's also the one that heals them. So he's basically, God to them.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of sadness to the book. It's great. It's great. You really feel for the beast people, and he himself is much different in the book than he is in the new movie. I would say he's more Dr. Hyder. After reading the book, I was like, I think Dr. Hyder is actually kind of
got a lot of
inspired
Moreau
by-
in him.
Yeah,
It's pretty awesome.
Interesting.
'Cause there's a part in the book where the guy, the regular dude, he's just like, if there was like an end game to this, if there was a reason, but there is no reason. He's just doing this, and it's just like, yeah, he's not like trying to help these things. He doesn't even see them as like as living beings. Really, he's just the act of actually doing it is his motive. And I was like, it's very Dr. Hyder.
It's just doing the experiment and knowing you've succeeded in your goal, and if you haven't, how do you change it next time so that it succeeds?
Mm-hmm.
See, that sounds like, I think
He's a
maybe the
scientist.
Charles Lawton one's going to be closest to
Hmm.
that, because Lawton's character's got a lot of that going on.
There's a lot about Dr. Moreau, very white. He's just every time you see him, he's just white. So I was like, oh, well, that's in the Richard Stanley, written.
Oh, is he effeminate?
No.
Okay, because Lawton's very light in the loafers in his Moreau.
Which is fine.
I got no
Gay
problem with that. I
people
love
can be
me some Lawton.
scientists
There's
too.
a big difference from the book version and the Richard Stanley written. I know he didn't direct it, so I don't know if it's in his script or not. It's when they kill the first Beast Man. And in the so I'll just, do you mind if I tell you guys?
Yes.
All right, I won't tell you. But it's much different who does it and why.
Yeah, but maybe I will
Yeah,
be inspired.
fine,
And
yeah.
and how many hours is this audiobook?
It's not a really long book, actually. It's Annabelle, I believe.
I don't think any of Wells' books were super long.
Yeah. And oddly enough, probably my two, the two movies, I really like The Fly too, but the two movies maybe that I thought about the most after we saw the Mad Scientist movies were The Invisible Man and Down Dr. Moreau, and they're both written by
Oh yeah, both
by
H.G.
Stan
Wells.
Yeah. I'm like, this guy knows how to write Mad Scientists.
Well, maybe I'll head over to my public library because I just recently got a library card.
Yeah, so get
thing to have.
Libby if you like the audio ones. You can get Libby and listen to it for free.
Really, I believe I
pretty
have
sweet.
signed up for
That's-
Libby,
Yeah.
but I do like to read. It's just a matter of reading.
Timing and
I got out a Peter Straub book. I've never read
Nice.
Peter Straub before.
Ghost Story,
It is Hell something.
Hellfire Club.
Yes.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Is it? I've never
one's
read
real good.
before. It became on a recommendation.
Check out Straub and King doing The Talisman's a really good story.
Yeah.
Too.
Not only do back to that line though, not only do I obviously that's obvious he's like the god likes it, but I think the idea that he can heal you, but he's also the reason why you hurt. I think.
Oh
that's-
yeah.
Mhm.
That's
He's
some spooky shit.
creating the reason to heal you.
He's like Picasso. He's
Kinda
the
like
creator
Neal.
and the destroyer. You know?
It's Neal.
Neil's
So-
the creator and the destroyer.
That's
He's
Neal.
like the modern
That's why I
Picasso.
like him so much.
That-
He knows
Hey, and
the
if I didn't
crew.
get
Look
you
at him.
hooked
Back to
on-
the House of Pain.
Yeah.
If I didn't get you hooked on the Three Musketeers enough, Faye Dunaway is the Lady de Winter.
Oh.
Christopher Lee, Rochambeau. Can't go wrong with that.
What is
Or
this?
Rochefort. Sorry, I had the
Yeah.
wrong.
Roquefort.
Yep.
I've got so much. I need more
He's
free
got the
time.
eye patch on. He's pretty fucking awesome.
I have free time, but I get so overwhelmed with all of the awesome stuff that I just end up seeing things that I've already seen. Like, well, I'll just put on this Vincent Price movie again.
Well, go with Scrooge anyway, because it's on Tubi
Scrooge.
for free.
All right, Scrooge on Tubi.
Albert Finney. And Alec
Albert
Guinness.
Finney is
You
wonderful.
can't go wrong. Alec Guinness is in it. Come on.
That's right. I knew there was another one. that was, because that one's black and white, right?
No, it's like 1970 maybe.
Who does Alec Guinness play?
He's Marley. He's Marley. He's the best Jacob
great.
Marley.
I was just scrolling through my my library of stuff I listened to, and that Christmas Carol that I listened to, it was actually read by I can't see the name here, but it's your guy's favorite Doctor Who.
Tom Baker?
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good.
Fuck me,
yeah.
Freddie. I gotta get that.
It's
He's
awesome.
reading?
Yeah, he reads.
Oh, I
It's
need
awesome.
that in my life.
I have to plug in my mouse. One.
Let's see. There's a few here I've not finished. Actually, I got to get. I actually, it's not Blade Runner, but it's called Blade Runner here. It's do Electric Sheep Streamer. I cannot get into it at all. But people have told me to
stick with it.
Just get past the beginning and then think of it as not Blade Runner.
Oh, you just have to think of it as it's actually its own story.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly.
Planet of the Apes, not a good book.
Really?
That is that and Jaws and The Godfather, I would say, are the three rare exceptions that I can name off the top of my head where the movie is far superior.
I agree. At least with Jaws and The Godfather. I don't think I ever read.
I was really let down by Planet of the Apes. I'm a big Planet of the Apes fan.
Mm-hmm.
Not a good book. It's kind of impressive that I think it's more impressive to take a book that you clearly can see is flawed,
yes,
and create like a great movie out of it. As
hell
opposed to take a great story. I guess that's hard in its own to how can this live up to this? But you have like a great premise already. But Jaws, I think if they would have made
props too on that one.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you would make Jaws like right from the book, I don't think it would be as remembered today. Not as fondly because the characters are unlikable.
Yeah. Are you ready for them to die?
Yes.
Sometimes I enjoy that.
And the Planet of the Apes, it's just kind of stupid.
They're all. That's why I always think when it won the Oscar for best adapted screenplay, from Rita Hayworth and The Shawshank Redemption, it's almost verbatim from the book. It's like that dude had the easiest job ever. It's like I'm gonna read this story and type it exactly as it's written. And wow, best adapted screenplay. All right, I could get an Oscar.
He was very accurate.
He was.
It is too. Now you mention it because I read it last year or sometime in the last couple of years. It's not a super long one. So.
Yeah, because there are 4 novellas in that one, and I think
probably easier to make a movie out of because some of King's novels are so long.
Oh yeah,
that's why a lot of them work better, as a series.
Yep.
You have to cut out so much stuff.
Did I send you an image?
So I don't know. I'm not getting. I'll have to refresh my.
Maybe I didn't. There is a. Oh, I did not. Let me see. Well, it's for a film that A24 is putting out called "Death of a Unicorn."
Oh yeah, I got an email about this.
Did you?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, hopefully I can send you the image and it'll actually work. That would be sweet.
You guys have me intrigued with this one.
Yeah, they A24 emails us about stuff, and then I reply we'd be interested, and then they never reply back. But
they realize this guy's still on the mailing list. Come on.
They like sending shit. They don't like responses.
Although I will say this now, I know people don't bring this stuff up because you'll curse yourself or whatever. But I assume this is never going to happen. But we were emailed about the new Al Pacino horror movie. And I was like,
hello.
I'm very interested in interviews. And they're like, we will keep you in the loop. And I'm thinking, this is it. We're not going to have Al Pacino on.
Why?
About this, but
Next
I mean,
week.
He's a person, Neal. Maybe he just wants to talk with some people.
That'd be awesome. Then we'll go to I forget the restaurant on Main Street, Hyannis, that he has been known to attend the place. So
Really?
yeah, Alberto's.
That was Wendy's.
That's a pretty good sales pitch for an Italian restaurant.
Yep, used to always
It
hear it on
sounds very
the radio.
Italian, not to assume, but
Because it'd be like, hey, this is Al Pacino, and whenever I'm on the Cape, I go to Alberto's restaurant.
You know what? And if he's doing it, I would say if he's doing it, I believe it, because it's not like you don't see Al Pacino on TV selling
He's
like
not whoring stuff
Advil or
but
like
no, yeah.
boner pills or something. So. You know, if Shaq said it, it'd be like, well,
yeah,
then freaking advertise everything.
you get this. I sent it now to the three of us in the Arbor cult chat, and it came through. For any review to see, it's very silly looking.
Wow, this does not look like an A24 movie, does it?
No, and that's okay. They do a lot.
They do. I know we were talking about elevated horror. I think when people think A24, they think. But honestly, for the most part, I like A24 movies.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I
much
don't
more stuff that I
know.
like than I
There
don't.
we go. Death of a Unicorn trailer, which is in this article by John Squires, who hates me. Jenna Ortega meets a killer unicorn in an A24 movie. Poke around and find out. Jenny Ortega and Paul Rudd lead the cast of A24's upcoming dark comedy, Death of a Unicorn. And A24 has released the film's official trailer this morning, which was yesterday. Death of a Unicorn will arrive sometime in spring of 2025. Watch the official trailer for Death of a Unicorn below. It's in Bloody Disgusting, which plays, I'm sure you could just Google Death of a Unicorn trailer and you'll find it. Which plays out a bit like Harry and the Hendersons with a unicorn rather than a Bigfoot. Jenny Ortega and Paul Rudd's characters accidentally hit and seemingly kill a unicorn-like creature in the film, and that's only the beginning of their fantastical nightmare when it soon roars to life and starts killing.
That wacky evil unicorn.
Yes. All right. So this is talking about a trailer, so I'm going to bring up a trailer many times. This first official trailer focuses heavily on the comedy aspect of the movie, with Will Poulter stealing the show with several fantastic lines, but it also teases the film's monstrous side. One thing is clear already. This is one pissed off unicorn. Expect more from this one soon. The upcoming feature is produced by everybody's favorite, Ari Aster. He's a very divisive fellow, and we've learned that horror master John Carpenter will compose music for the film.
Whoa!
Yeah, the score has reportedly been composed by John Carpenter, Cody Carpenter, and Daniel Davies. In Death of a Unicorn, a father Rudd and daughter Ortega accidentally hit and kill a unicorn while en route to a weekend retreat where his billionaire boss, Richard Grant, seeks to exploit the creature's miraculous curative properties. That's their little sploosh there. Yeah, so there's a trailer. Ooh, this is a really cool poster I'll get for you. I didn't see this until just now. It's pretty sweet. So what do you think about that idea while I'm getting this image?
I'm into it. I've seen a lot of people sharing this around.
I don't love the look there with Ortega, and not a very horsey looking mouth there on the unicorn.
Still,
unless that's Paul Rudd's mouth. I don't know.
Maybe we could probably show the trailer, and we just won't. They'll probably just yell at us and say you can't advertise it. And what I do, you can't put ads on. If they say anything, I'll just cut it out. But if you're live here, you'll get to watch it.
Are we watching this trailer?
Yeah. What is it called? Death of a Unicorn?
I'll get it. Whoa. Oops.
I don't know. I'm not in love with that still.
Right.
Like
so that's
Ortega,
what I'm saying.
like
Maybe
Rudd.
we'll watch the. I got it here. Maybe we'll watch the trailer and you'll think otherwise.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go. Grab this up. By the way, if you ever want us to show your independent horror trailer, you can send it to me Honestly, the easiest way is to email it because I'll probably see it more likely there.
I did love the Superman trailer, though. I think
I
that
do
was gonna be a
too.
good one.
I'm really into it. I'm really looking forward to it. I like James Gunn movies.
I have faith in James Gunn.
Ridley, are you okay?
It kind of felt like it was showing me something. I get this feeling I don't think we're supposed to be here.
The Leopolds donated this entire nature preserve. And they care about a lot of things, not just pharmaceuticals.
Fine. I will sit there and smile.
Sorry, what happened? You walked from the airport or what?
It's perfect timing.
I need you to act like everything is fine. Is there something in your car? A lot of species in this area are rare. What exactly are we saying this is, though?
I think we know exactly what it is.
A horse-like mammalia.
With some sort of protrusion or a growth. It's a fucking unicorn.
I don't think I should be in swim shorts for this moment.
I don't think that we're supposed to have this.
We need to study it.
Whatever it is, it seems to be the cure for cancer.
Cancer? That's the biggest one. An opportunity for greatness, for immortality. I've never been so alive.
Dad, please just listen to me. We need to give the little one back. Okay, bad things will happen. There are two of them? They're gonna kill us.
I'll do whatever I have to take care of you. So you'd retreat in the face of opportunity.
That horn was rather girthsome.
I'm picking up good vibration. Here's hoping we kill Bigfoot on the way home, huh?
I don't know. I'm into it.
I like the cast. A lot of people are really digging that.
Yeah. That the bald guy there from Barry.
He's awesome.
Oh.
Yeah, I love that guy.
Barry's great. I haven't.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're even making it.
He's
anymore,
he's in the new Superman too. That bald guy.
that bald guy.
And then the kid that
But you're bald. You can make fun of your own kind.
Yeah. I think he has a condition.
What?
I do. I don't think he has any facial hair. I don't think he has eyebrows.
Now I feel really bad because you don't have that condition.
No, I do.
Then I don't know the guy's name, but the dude that was Adam Warlock and
that's who that is. Yeah, and he used to be on Shameless.
Yep.
A lot of the kids from
Lecter or
Shameless
something
went on to
like
be pretty
that.
big.
So you guys think that looks good?
The story though seems like something we've seen before. Seems like that.
I thought the comedy was really bad at the beginning, but I think once the monstrous unicorn showed up, I think it was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's what got me a little more. I thought the whole beginning with Jenny Ortega and this guy, was it Paul Rudd?
Yeah, her dad. I guess.
Yeah, that was fine. I felt good about that. It's when the family, the like rich people came in, and I was like, maybe it'll be great. But then the hooves with the like claw in it. All right, that's pretty cool. So
that one reminded me a little bit years ago. Gosh, she's probably 30 years old now. But when one girl was in 5th grade, she asked me to draw her an evil unicorn. And I did this black unicorn with like barbed wire wrapped around like its mane and stuff, and she loved it.
That's
it had
awesome.
like evil spikes all through its like hooves and stuff. She dug it.
Sick. I love that child asked you for that.
Oh, I know. Yeah, because usually you get like, can you draw me like a sweet unicorn with berries flying around it?
I don't know where I actually scanned that once.
Did
it's
you?
up on my the computer upstairs. If I find it, I'll post it on the group. Just I remember Troy drew it. Yeah, it was a monstrous unicorn.
Yeah. Yep.
It was cool. I'm pretty sure I scanned it.
She was pretty specific about what she wanted too, because she didn't want any sweet, lovable unicorn. She wanted an evil unicorn. I was like, okay, got to give the audience what they want, you know.
So this is the Al Pacino horror film, The Ritual.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have seen that poster. I don't know why I haven't stopped to pay attention to it. All right, cool.
Starring Al Pacino, Dan Stevens, and Ashley Greene. The Exorcism horror film will hit U.S. audiences Easter weekend, releasing only in theaters April 18th from XYZ Films. Based on true events, The Ritual follows two priests, one questioning his faith and one reckoning with a troubled past. Not necessarily groundbreaking there, but who must put aside their differences to save possessed young woman through a difficult and dangerous series of exorcisms. Does not sound new at all, but who knows?
But that's the thing. You can take something that's been done a million times and you do it right, it feels like it's new.
And you throw Al in there, it's got to be at least decent.
You'd like to think so. What was the movie he was in where it was him and Keanu Reeves? That one was great. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The
devil, yeah.
Yeah, Devil's Advocate. Oh, man. Yep. I remember thinking that was amazing. It was very cool. I sent a picture. I don't want to cut off that conversation if you guys want to keep talking about it.
No, this is cool. I like these skulls.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Gina Bobina, who is watching here.
Gina got a cool name.
I know.
Yeah. Her first time watching. She saw me on Stuttering John. Popped on over, so thank you. That's cool.
Very cool. So what do we got over here?
I had too many photos, so I had to delete some.
Ew. All right. Whoa. So coincidentally, this article from 9 hours ago was made by John Squires of Bloody Disgusting, who wants to jump up and down dancing on my grave. But until that time, I'll keep reading his articles, even though I know he'd rather.
He's going to do the thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's the nicest thing that anyone's ever done for me.
Amazing. Nia DaCosta's 28 years later, The Bone Temple, releasing January 2026. Now, immediately, with that alone, what do you guys think about just the title?
I'm down. I'm loving it.
I'm down with the image.
Yeah, yep. The Bone Temple. I'd
the
move
Bone
in.
Temple sounds cool to me.
Yeah. So, in the wake of 28 years later next summer, the Infection franchise will continue with sequel 28 years later, The Bone Temple, which Sony has already dated for theatrical release. Directed by Nia DaCosta of Candyman, 28 years later, The Bone Temple will release on January 16th, 2026. This will be the second movie in a planned trilogy of new movies. But first, 28 years later will be unleashed in theaters on June 20th, 2025. In 28 years later, it's been, quote, it's been almost 3 decades since the Rage virus escaped a biological weapons laboratory, and now, still in a ruthlessly enforced quarantine, some have found ways to exist amidst the infected. One such group of survivors lives on a small island connected to the mainland by a single, heavily defended causeway. When one of the group leaves the island on a mission into the dark heartland of the mainland, he discovers secrets, wonders, and horrors that have mutated not only the infected, but other survivors as well. From what we understand, Nia DaCosta has already wrapped filming on The Bone Temple, with plot details likely to be kept under wraps until 28 years later comes along next summer. Interesting to note, however, that there is a literal bone temple glimpsed in the official trailer for 28 years later, seen above. That's the picture we got, which seems to be a pivotal location for this new trilogy. Based on trailer reviews, 28 years later is already tracking to be a pretty massive box office hit for Sony in 2025, so we can be pretty certain that their ambitious trilogy plan will ultimately pan out. So, what do you think?
Oh, man.
I'm down.
Yeah.
Have you watched the let me take some. Have you watched the trailer for 28 Years Later? Looks awesome.
Coincidentally, I still haven't. I don't know why. I just don't.
You want me to play it here on the show?
Yes, play it.
So,
Play
and
it,
then I'll
man.
tell you, because there's a point in this that was talked about a lot, and then it's kind of been debunked. But we'll play it.
Oh yeah, about that guy.
Yeah.
Who isn't that guy?
Right.
Killian's not that guy.
No, the other guy is that guy, and he wanted the world to know it. And good for him.
I don't blame him.
Not at all.
He's pretty friggin' scary dude in the trailer.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We can get him on the show. He probably can't talk.
Pretty sweet. Well, he could talk about the theft of his fame, but now I think he's more fame because of it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Auntie, what's going on? Jimmy, sit still, keep quiet, and do not move from this spot.
Wow.
William Thrall.
That looks great. That whole trailer is just like I think like a masterpiece. It's pretty
Oh yeah.
Yeah. A feast for the eyes. I really feel like I don't know how they're going to put that all in a movie.
I know.
And
Danny Boyle rarely lets you down, so
yeah,
I'm good with that. Got a good feeling.
Yeah, and I like that you don't see
Cillian
Cillian-
Murphy in that.
yeah, but he's they can't keep it hidden that he's in it. But so what
I
is
think
he in?
Not really. Yeah,
Is
I
it,
think it's
not
a large role from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But from
Yeah.
he's listed actually in all of them. So I don't know. Who knows? I like it though because you don't know.
You do not know.
So I am definitely into it. I'm gonna go and rewatch the other two.
I rewatched the other one.
Yeah, you weren't a big
I'm
fan
out
of
in
it.
the
I never
world
really liked the
challenge
second
me.
one, so I never really liked either one a lot, honestly. But I need to rewatch it. Yeah,
I love the
I
first
love
one.
the first one. I
Yeah,
can't
I
get enough.
know. I know you and Troy are big fans.
Because it's awesome. What is there to not love?
Damn.
Yeah, it's so sad. That one guy.
Yep.
Oh man, that one guy. You know the guy, Troy.
Like the dad.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
So
Yeah, everything
our new
about that movie, I love it. Like I can't say anything about that I don't like.
our new palette there, Jake Hudson, he made an AI song for us, which is very nice. And so I sent him a sticker because he has a sticker wall where he keeps all these stickers. So I sent Jake out there a sticker. And if anyone else would like Without Your Head sticker, join the membership here to help support the show. It starts only $3 a month, and I'll send you a sticker. Boom. Yeah, it helps cover everything here, and you get some incentives. We'll add some more stuff, but right now, if you become a member, you can use the there's 8-bit emojis that are exclusive to members. So you can use little Smash Mouth. You can use an 8-bit the Pilgrim guy from Thanksgiving. Pretty fun. You have to be on YouTube to use this.
See, he can be Jake the Snake on your wrestling show, but here he's Jake the Steak.
Jake the Steak. Yeah. Jake's a good man, Jake up there.
Jake was all right. He made me smile when he was on your wrestling show.
Yeah, so he's a big horror guy. He's been listening to Without Your Head, and he didn't even know the wrestling show existed until Tuesday. And so
Really?
Yeah. He's a very nice guy. Let's see here. Look at this. This is it seems like, I'll be honest, after we did now I know they've existed, but after we did the novelization of End Zone 2, seems like it's become the new thing. Like they've come back. So we've got the novelization of Circus of the Dead. There's a novelization of Madman with our buddy Paul Ehlers out there.
That's
We
pretty
did novelization of
Everything
the
old
Maxine
is new
trilogy.
again.
Yeah, I think it all started because of this here.
You brought it back.
Yeah, I honestly can't take much credit for this. This is really not.
Who came up with that
but
one?
it's very cool. Michael Epstein, but Jean Shields Tempe.
Oh,
it was written by Michael Epstein. But
I'm curious about the choice of name.
That's true. I'm interested. You can find out a lot more about Backwards Bob. And for those who've seen End Zone 2, you can find out what was supposed to happen after the 1 hour mark.
Oh, so that's a really big thing.
Yep.
Actually, a pretty good reason to get the book.
Agree.
See what happens.
I'd like to know.
Exactly.
I have sad news. So Libby is for your own library in town. Or is it?
I actually can use it also for Boston.
How?
I just put it in there and said, hey, boom, there's my library card. And they, boom, accepted it.
Oh, so as long as you have a library card from anywhere, you can.
You're going to need to just
access.
I did anyway. I don't know. I actually didn't think I'd be able to since I don't live in Boston, but it let me.
So you just said, hey, I'm in Boston?
No, so I actually have both of them on here, and I can flip flop depending. I can look in the Boston one, or I can look in the Sandwich one. Yeah, flip flop back and forth. So sometimes you would think Boston has a bigger selection, and they might, but also more people borrow from Boston. So sometimes a lot of this stuff's out. So I flip over to Sandwich, and I can do a lot of stuff. Are you having issues?
I am. It's weird. I can't get Island of Dr. Moreau.
Really?
It's pretty hard to believe.
I would assume
that seems really hard to believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I would think like an older book's probably is usually a lot easier. Like if it's a new like the new Stephen King book, you'll go there and it'll be like like a 9 months wait or something.
I've got
I wonder if they have it in like a collection of like Wells stuff or something like that.
I think I did see that actually.
Really? Maybe. Because right now I've got The Daughter of Dr. Moreau. The Vanishing at Castle Moreau.
Whoa.
The Husband Hour. I don't know what that is. And
We'll go with
Gunslinger
that.
Girl. Also don't know what that is.
Good old Gunslinger Girl.
Yeah.
That's a good substitute, I think.
So I finally
Practically the
found
same-
these.
same
So
story, I think.
a few years ago, it's probably more than a few years ago now. It's probably 10 or I don't know if I knew Annabelle at this point. Anyway, I may have. It was a long time ago. I dressed up as Jacob Marley for Halloween.
Yeah, you knew me.
Okay, so it was probably early on though, 10 or 12 years.
Yeah,
ago.
you didn't go out like that. Yeah.
No. But
I
there
love
it is.
that.
It's the black and white one, and here's the color version. So this was before I read the book, but I always liked the version of the movie where his mouth was tied shut, and then I found out that is actually out of the book. Because apparently that's how they used to, when they would bury people, they tie their head shut so their mouth didn't. Because I guess your jaw just opens up. So he tied it shut so his jaw just didn't fall off.
Yeah, it'd be kind of gruesome, I think.
Yeah, it's a very sad character in the book. He's just fucking roaming around, carrying the chains he forged in life.
So don't be a dick.
That's basically what we learned.
And so when I read it, I was like, you can make a whole story about Jacob Marley. And then I found out someone did. So I was like, oh, wow, sweet. So I'm listening to it and I'm like, this sucks. So I don't recommend the Jacob Marley book. They cheat very much. They just are telling a Christmas story
through Marley.
Yeah, so you it's like well, this is already a book. Like, dude, you can't just rewrite this classic book and then add some stuff Marley's doing, and it's all like really lame.
So it's through his eyes? Like, is he watching ghosts?
Yeah, you literally just see, literally most of the book is friggin' Scrooge going and doing his stuff and him just watching him. It's like, I know what fucking Scrooge did.
Why would Marley be watching him? How could he It's a cash grab.
So there's a couple interesting things in it, but overall, it's not very well done. There's some really weird backstory stuff. I don't know. It's not a good. I would not recommend it.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, I think there's something you could do there, but someone else did it, and it sucks. So. But Jacob Marley's a cool character. Sometimes I think it maybe now I think about it, some characters are meant just to be, a smaller part of the story. We don't need everything about.
Well, then
Jacob
there's a good mystery, like how did he die?
What was it?
It's better that way.
There is
that crazy bastard.
So Troy is the only man to own one of these shirts because they're not for sale, but they will be part of the Arbor Day crowdfunder.
I was going to say crowd pleaser, but crowdfunder.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully it's a crowd pleaser or the crowdfunder.
But it's pretty rocking it, and I'm in full support of wearing a shirt with your face in it.
I think this is my first actual photograph face of a
No, I approve.
Wild. Have you worn? So you just got it. Are you gonna wear it out and about in public?
Yeah, he wore it today. We went out to breakfast. It was me, Troy, and our mom. And I was like, holy shit, you're wearing the shirt. And then I was like, we got to get a picture. And then I totally forgot. But then Troy took some photos at home. So
I'm so curious if you're going to have people say things like, is that you on your shirt?
I haven't yet, which I'm surprised.
Yeah. Yeah, we went to a new place. It's in town, though, but we never ate there for some reason.
That's what I'll do. I'll act surprised.
Really
I'll be like, what? No, oh my God, he does look like me.
Oh, man.
TJ will never plant a tree again. Travis will never twirl his mustache again. Percy will never drink coffee again. What is killing Steve's friends in the woods? At this rate they're going, there will be no one left for Riley's game night alive. Arbor Day. Everything you know about Arbor Day. Live.
Are the trees going to be evil trees and good trees and neutral trees? Like, are you going to be?
Well, I don't know about neutral. It's.
Well, I mean, it's not even if they're in the story, but like, are you going to refer to the evil trees as evil trees or just trees?
No, that is actually a big part of the story and a big part of the moral dilemma of Percy's character, as seen in the teaser trailer.
Yes.
Steve promised me that no sap of an innocent tree will be spilled.
Yes. I know there's a lot of talk about trees rather than evil trees. I just want to clarify.
Yes. Well, I mean, you can't give away too much just in the posters.
Evil trees. No, I just mean to say that there's a lot of times they're just described as trees.
Oh, right.
Saying evil trees.
Just well, as it starts, it's not clear. So it is, and it's actually part of the story because it's why they can't just go in and like decimate part of the forest because you don't want to kill the innocent trees because that is not the way of JoJo the Safety Squad.
I have a pretty cool drawing of that dude. Right?
Yes.
Taped over there with painter's tape.
Yeah. I love it. Dan Yeager loves it. Dan Yeager wants a shirt of it, which I'm totally in favor.
I'm feeling pretty good about it. He is a cutie.
Yeah. I was going to attempt to do some to learn Adobe Animator. See if I could do some animation. We'll see.
Ooh, I would love to see this.
Neal.
What? I have the program already.
No, I told you I was going to harass you about the script.
Well, it's all part of it. It's all part of it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So anything else here for this evening?
Probably,
It's a
but
lot
I
later than I thought.
didn't realize how late it was. and
Yeah, I didn't either.
Work in the morning.
Yeah. Well, I had a good time. It was fun having all three of us here.
Yeah, I didn't know if I'd be able to make it today. I wasn't feeling good at all, but
well, see, you're here, and you're
glad you made the scene.
This is the medicine for the soul.
See, this is what I'm talking about. You're like the hand that heals, and you're
Neal-
very like, I'm Neil Jones.
I didn't say I was. I said this was.
He's going to take me to the
I know
house
what's
of
really
pain
going on.
next.
Exactly.
That stubborn beast flesh, it just keeps sneaking up.
His is the house of pain. His is the house. It's a great book, and it's a great line. It's a great character. I love it.
Well, hopefully I'll be able to get a hold of this story because Libby is having.
I'm interested to ask Richard Stanley if his script did not have the House of Pain, and why? Because it is a big part of the book and a big part of the story.
Does he have the lawgiver in his or no?
Yeah. It's actually I see. The thing is, he was replaced as director, so I don't know, how much of the actual story we see was from his original script and stuff. But in that version, the lawgiver is Hellboy. What's his name?
Ron Perlman.
That's
Ron
awesome.
Perlman.
Yeah, he's very cool looking. He's
It's
one of the
Lugosi
cooler
in the original one. It's Lugosi in the old Charles Lawton one.
Oh, really, Bill? I have to rewatch this. I watched it once when I was a little
He's
kid. I
like,
don't remember
back
much
to
about
the
it.
house of pain.
Awesome.
Yep, it's great.
In any of the movies, are all the beast people like just straight up like this is a bear person, this is a because in the book it's a lot of like amalgamations of different
Blends.
animals, which is very very creepy and weird. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there's like the satyr and stuff.
Cool.
All right, I'm down with that.
Yeah. So is he intentionally trying to make like mythological creatures? And
Well,
stuff?
there's just like a line like he must have been inspired by like stories of childhood and
Wow. Like you could make like a Medusa and a Minotaur and man, that sounds like a cool guy to me. He's a creator.
Mm-hmm.
I think Richard
artist.
Baycard is he's the lawgiver in the 70s one.
But it's just the line about the stuff in the underbrush too, and I was like, that's something I think would be cool to
that's pretty
explore in
awesome.
one of the movies where there's these little, I don't know if they'd be rats or moles or whatever, and they're just kind of maybe they're not even very intelligent. They're just kind of scurrying around like under the grass.
Is that what in the newer the non-Stanley one?
Yeah.
Supposed to be Stanley one. That little dude.
Well, I think he's actually a character in the book, like the sloth guy.
Oh.
But it's different. But I was thinking maybe that's who that's supposed to be. But these are very small things that are under like they don't even interact with the other people. They don't live with them. They're just out there like roaming around under the I think they're not. They don't really have much of
like
a mind or anything.
Dozers.
Yeah, they're just little things he made, and they're just out there.
Now that would be awesome. They're singing a little song, and
and then there's stuff about that they've mated, and I don't know. There's a lot of stuff going on in the book. It's great.
Is it a dozer or a doozer?
I don't remember.
Because now I'm thinking
we're dozers, but I might be wrong.
Dozer.
I think so, but it's been a minute since I've seen Fraggle Rock.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite
Fraggle Rock?
I just kind of dug the show. It was just like
I love Fraggle Rock. I used to watch every morning before I went to school.
Oh.
I'd be eating my cereal and watch Fraggle Rock.
It's a good start to the day.
Yeah.
Yep.
You must have had cable.
Yeah, we had cable really early on. We were one of the for whatever reason our town had cable early, which because we're in not like a huge town, so it's weird.
You're like the test town, the isolated test town.
Maybe.
It's where they send all the diseases and everything. Testing.
Yeah, I don't think Sandwich even has like a natural gas pipe. But they had cable before anybody.
We had cable, but then I guess it was deemed not worth the money. That was the end of cable. It was like 1985, I think, ish.
Yeah, I used to watch a lot of.
Gone.
There's a few movies that I always just remember were always on, like HBO, like Call.
Oh yeah,
Krull was on a lot for some reason.
Yeah,
and Sword and the Sorcerer, which I was a big fan of Sword and the Sorcerer. That was on all the time. I watched that a million times, I think.
Lee Horsley, man. Yahoo!
I haven't seen it in decades, probably, but I watched it like so often as a child.
Which of those? I think it's come up before, but I don't recall the Sword and Sorcery movie that has some like wizard that melts.
That might be Sword and the Sorcerer.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is.
It scared the shit
The
out of me.
stuntman actually died in the scene. They throw him off a cliff, and he dies doing that stunt, and they kept it in the movie.
Well, I mean, he died doing what he loves.
Yeah.
I mean, it would kind of suck to not have it in the movie. If I was him, and I'm like, I died for this.
Yeah.
You better damn well keep it in the movie.
I'll haunt you. I'll pull a Marley on you and come back if you don't.
Seriously. Sword and the Sorcerer. Oh, I remember this cover art. Oh my god, it's amazing. Is this a Boris art?
Is it like Vallejo on that one?
It looks.
Might be.
It looks that way. Poster artist.
Always remember the stories from it. Like Lee Horsley was like 50 pounds smaller than they thought he would be when they hired him. So
Really?
they kind of like padded him up with like a bunch of fur and stuff. And then the main actress was like 40 pounds heavier than they thought she would be. And so it's like they weren't pleased with any of their choices.
Oh, man. Sword and Sorcerer.
Here is the scene.
Oh.
This is.
That was sent for me.
Why behold our hero?
Get to the point. I'm weary.
Sneaky bastard.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then you shall sleep forever.
Here it goes.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Insane. So I
And at
guess,
the
you
end,
know,
like he disguises himself as somebody else, and then like the guy's flesh like falls off, and he comes out of the guy. It's kind of cool.
Wow.
It's been a minute since I've seen that one too.
so I guess sometimes, you know, you're like, well, I want the real stuff. I don't want this CGI guy flying off a cliff or throwing a dummy. It's like, well, maybe we do.
But people might like those jobs, though. Sometimes people have dangerous jobs. I'm sure they all know they have dangerous jobs.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, people have died doing stuff that's not, you know, wouldn't be dangerous either. So.
Oh. Well, Peter Andrew Jones is the illustrator. I don't know if you're familiar with this artist, but
I don't know the name.
Pretty cool. Shirley had stuff in Dragon magazine or Heavy Metal.
Oh, okay.
It had. There's no way otherwise. The art is straight out of that.
Totally. Yeah.
100%. It's very cool. So it's nearing in on midnight.
All right.
I do.
We'll be back next week. We'll probably be. We're gonna try to do a. It'll be the day after Christmas, and we're gonna try to do a Christmas list. It'll be Christmasly over. You'll sit back, and we'll talk about our favorite Christmas horror films. It'll be.
Is that what we're talking about?
That was the
I thought we were doing
plan.
the top 13 of the year.
No, I thought we.
New Year's.
Yeah, I think we would do that in January.
Oh, I thought we were like wrapping up the year with here's our 2024.
Oh, I mean, if that's what you wanted, but I thought the plan was we were going to do the Christmas top 13 Christmas horror movies. I'm good either way, but we'll have to let Alok and our buddies know if we're doing.
Yeah,
we usually do that in January, the top 13.
Yeah,
January
was a very stacked month.
What if
that's where that came from?
Yeah.
Huh?
I just wonder if Nosferatu like sneaks in though into the 13 list.
We could.
Maybe. I guess.
Well, either way, I'm good. I'm good either way you want to do it. We'll just have to let our friends know if we're doing it that time.
I don't know. The only reason
originally we had said we said 13 Christmas horror.
The only reason I'd said that is because January was going to have a lot of people in it, and there wouldn't be a great opportunity to do a top stuff show. And
yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm fine.
I don't want to mess with anybody's flow, but that was
maybe Chris Tarot would be cool doing a 13 of the year.
Maybe we'll check it out with people. I don't want to
just let me know.
Off.
Yeah, well, I'll ask everybody and see what everyone's schedule is.
Yeah,
we know Justin. He'll have 13. Like he's got 700 lists already made.
Exactly. Yeah, because Tara's welcome to do our 13 of the year. That's fine.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I know it's we'll see. Just find out, I guess, because it's a weird week anyways, because the day after Christmas, not always people are around. Right. So we'll just reconvene. We'll figure it out and
all right. It's not set in stone. It's all good.
Yes. All right.
All right. So until next time, we'll be doing a show Sunday. They'll probably be live at 1, I think. We'll figure out. Until then, this is Nasty Neal.
That would make me Terrible Troy.
And this is Annabelle Lecter.
And this is Without
Your
Head.